all members present. We knew Andy wasn't going to be here tonight. Let's see. So, Ellen, would you sit in as a voting member for Andy tonight? We do not have a public comment tonight. No public hearings, no appointments, although we do have the appointment committee will meet on the 15th of December to interview the candidate that showed interest in being an alternate on this commission. He said okay to the time and the date. It's 6 p.m. on December 15th. So that brings us to statutory business. The first item we have is John Flatley, company owner, a review for the acceptance and consideration of final approval for a lot line adjustment to increase the area of map 6E, lot 003-07, and a site plan to construct 248 apartment buildings in addition to the existing 240 units, both in accordance with the most recently amended Flatley mixed-use conditional use permit. The parcels are located at 5 Gilbert Crossing and 645 Daniel Webster Highway in the I-1 Industrial Aquifer Conservation and Elderly Housing Overlay Districts and Well Protection Area, tax map 6E, lots 003-01, 645 Daniel Webster Highway, and 003-07, 5 Gilbert Crossing. So who do we have? If you would, yeah, if you would, we have the computer there if you want it. You don't have to sign in anymore. We don't do that. Just if you would state your name and so forth for the record.
Sure.
And I don't know if you want to use that easel or you want to use the monitor.
Do you have the PDF loaded? I didn't bring it.
No.
I didn't know you had that, so.
Nope.
Easel's ready.
You know, when you're presenting, you feel free to take that off if it's impeding you in any way.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
All right, Nathan Chamberlain, with Stone Land Consultant.
Is the, is this green light on? There you go. Sorry, come in.
So yes, this is the Flatley development, known as Gilbert Crossing. It was approved in 2017, I believe, for 5 apartment buildings. It has since been constructed. And part of the whole, because it's zoned industrial, so they had to get a conditional use permit or a planned development. And so that includes all their land, which wraps around. The only thing that's not their land here is the single main building. So they've done the flex buildings. So what the planned development is, they let you have some residential, in this case multifamily, but you have to build some commercial area and or industrial. So, you know, as part of that permit, you know, all this area is to be either commercial or industrial. So they've since amended that permit. So originally it was 5 buildings were allowed. They've gone back and been able to amend it to allow for 2 more buildings. So that's what we're doing now, is adding 2 buildings, and they're the highlighted ones here and here on the big overview map. So they did, when they first got this approved, this was all one lot here. 3-1, 63-1, and they subdivided it off. And got in a little bit closer. This is the overview. It says all the notes on the plan. And so again, we're talking about this building here and this building back here. So currently the driveway comes down and there's no parking over here. Currently it starts right in here, the parking. So we're proposing to add parking in here and add a wing of parking here with they have these 10-unit garages that you pay more for if you want one. And one of the bays in that 10-unit garage is handicap accessible as well. And so basically we're adding parking along the existing driveway here and this wing to satisfy the parking requirements. And then down here, there's existing parking area as well that we're extending slightly and then adding another wing here for this building. That's it as far as the site plan, the site modifications to accommodate these two buildings. The town has, since the original approval, has changed their whole site plan regulations, and along with that, their parking requirements. So, their parking requirements were more stringent before. They've relaxed them a little bit, so we don't need as much parking as originally needed, but we still have excess parking over what the town's requirements are. So, total parking required based on the new regulations is 471, and the parking proposed is 629 for the whole complex. This is just existing conditions. So all the improvements that have been done from 2017 on have been as-built, and that's what we have here. It's cut into two sheets, 50 scale sheets. And so, again, part of this application is to adjust the lot line because he did the subdivision based on the original development with the line down here. So this was originally all 3-1, they subdivided it, and this one is now 3-7. So part of the application is to shift this lot line over to provide room for that, the first of the two buildings. This is Daniel Webster Highway down here, it's the fire station. B&M Railroad in the back, and then the river further to the east, like so be. This is just site-specific soils map, which is basically modified the one that was done for the previous approval.
So does the lot line adjustment cut into the perimeter of the soil test?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're.
That's the new lot line?
That's the new lot line, yes.
That's the new proposed one?
Right.
Okay.
And the old one was
because
down.
you only tested the soil out beyond that.
Right, but there was enough information that we could, is basically just, modify the mapping slightly to capture that little bit of area. Most of the testing was done down here with the buildings were. This is, again, so we had a 100 scale view of the whole site plan, then we break it up into 50 scale views, just a little more detail. You can see the proposed parking here, new parking lot in the building on the, this is the west side. Here's the main entrance, clubhouse. And then we're on the east side. And again, we're pushing this parking lot out a little bit and adding this wing. That's the new building, obviously. I guess I'm trying to get into the meat and potatoes here. So this is the color plan of the grading. So as part of the original approval, they built this landscape berm. It's kind of hard to see underneath so we're putting the building and parking right on top of it, basically. So we're going to rebuild that landscape berm out here. And we have a small little infiltration basin to handle the increase in runoff resulting from this additional pavement and building area.
And that landscape berm's not going to be on the other parcel?
Yes, it is, in fact, partially on that other lot, which they own.
So how does Dumpling Brook run through there?
So Dumpling Brook is not, it's just right there on the edge of this page. You'd have to go to the overview. Dumpling Brook is right here. It probably shows up a little better on the next sheet. So this is an existing infiltration basin over here. We're proposing some slight modifications to bring it into what was on the original plans. That's pretty much it as far as.
It doesn't meet the original plan now?
There's a little, the berm is like half a foot lower than it was originally designed for. If it was settling or whatnot, and then the bottom of the basin isn't completely at the finished grade that was specified. And it is on this side, but, you know, it's just typical construction stuff. It's hard to build it exactly, so. Just basically take out the loam there and refinish up the bottom. And so this is the west building. So here's Dumpling Brook. And here's the existing basin that was built for the original development. Again, we're just dressing up the bottom. They have a certain elevation here, and we're just mainly finishing that off so it's all the same elevation. It's just not built exactly for a plan, so. So this does fall up, you know, the existing parking lot, it does slope down, so there is a fair amount of fill here. It's gonna be required to put that building in there. But they are providing, you know, like a 20-foot, I can't remember if it's 20 or 25-foot landing behind the units. And we have there was an existing access down to the basin here, and we're just rebuilding it over here. And again, this parking area, but everything is sheeting towards the basin. The original test pits, you know, we're still well above the seasonal high here. There is a retaining wall proposed along this wall, this driveway and parking area. And as far as utilities go, we're just tying in the existing utilities. That's what the saw cuts for, so we're tying the sewer and the water. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's already, all the utilities are already in place, it's just tying into them.
So you're saying that proposed retaining wall,
Yep.
that's going to be built, if you get the approval of this, that's going to be built?
Yes. Yep. It's part of the approval, yeah. Again, this one, we are actually bringing the water and gas around the back of this building instead of cutting the pavement up. Just keeping the green space instead of going through the pavement. Sewer's tying in over here, the existing sewer line.
And Nathan, when did you say you go before the planning board? Is it tomorrow? It is tomorrow. Okay.
Next week, yeah.
Next,
No, tomorrow, you're right, you're right. It's likely to get continued though because we don't have the peer review yet, so.
and I know we heard about this project, I think back in July, the 14th. It wasn't you, it was Michael Plouffe, I think,
Okay.
presented on this, and there were a few questions, and he may have answered these subsequently to the planning board. But some of the concerns the three concerns we identified then were, you know, the proposal involves eliminating or excavated soils, and I think this one does too. You showed it for a second there. Was it on page 15? You talked about an infiltration basin being created near building number 1 toward the west end of page 15.
Sure.
I think note 1 actually speaks to it on our maps. So that would be a source of excavated soils. Are those all managed on site? Our concern was we didn't want those, if those soils were gonna go somewhere else, we wanted to make sure they were treated the right way, given the history of these
No,
parcels.
so there will be no soil leaving the site, so that's, you know, one reason we're gonna spoil it in this berm, but regardless, no soil leaves the site. So
Okay.
they have GZA Environmental on board, and they did this on the last, when they did the original apartments. So the whole PFA thing came up, PFOA came up after the approval on the apartments, but it was, you know, it was known about during the construction. So they had GZA on board, and they did a soil management plan, and they did, you know, monitoring and all that stuff. And they'll be on board to do this as well.
Okay.
And they've done, you know, they've put together a soil management plan for the other you know, industrial developments on the other end as well, and that's been reviewed by DES. They've made some comments, it's come back, and so they're in the process of addressing their comments, but their testing reveals it's very low contamination in this area, and also up front. You know, over where the flex buildings are. I think, you know, down back in here is where there's more contamination, but over here it was very light and over there, so. But all the soil will stay on site.
Okay.
Does community development have a copy of that plan?
I do not have one. We've asked, we've asked flatly, we haven't gotten a copy of the plan. Their soil management plan?
Yeah, at some point when that is available, if you
Sure.
could just make sure
I
community
think it's more of a
development.
construction-related item before they, put a shovel in the ground, that's gotta be in place. But we can
Mhm.
certainly make sure, I did put a bug in the client's ear to get us a copy so we can, cause I know that came up last time I was here. And, but we can certainly, get you a copy once that's available.
Thank you.
If you would, I think it's, page 8, site plan number 2, the east site plan.
Yeah.
I think you showed me, but maybe I just didn't keep up. One of the concerns we had was obviously runoff, especially with this additional impervious area from these parking lots and the 2 additional structures, keeping the run out of Dumpling Brook.
Sure. So, this is all curved, and it comes down to a catch basin here, and then that's routed to the existing infiltration basin. And the roof area, probably better to look at the grading plan. The roof area is all guttered, so that goes into a gutter system and routed, and that's all in a closed system around the foundation. That's being directed over here as well. And then this is just sheet flow, it's pitched, and
Mhm.
it's all sloped down to here.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this is all, this driveway is pitched away from Dumpling Brook, everything is pitched away from Dumpling Brook and directed to this infiltration, the existing infiltration basin where it's treated and released.
Was there a revised stormwater management plan?
Yes, that was submitted, the site plan application, I should've gotten a copy of it.
Do we
with
have
it.
the number, the final numbers?
I didn't see that. Community development has that,
Yeah,
you think?
it was forwarded in a PDF as well as a hard copy.
The entire plan or just the summarization?
The whole report.
Okay.
I can see why they didn't try to reprint that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
I just
big.
would be curious, I'd like to see the summarization.
Mm-hmm. I had one other question too. I think it's on the previous map, site layout plan number 2. It looks like there's, off to the east, there's a, what is it called? Proposed BMP access drive. What is the purpose of that?
You talking about this?
Yes, yeah, right there.
So that's so they can get down and maintain the stormwater basin. So we have one here, and then we have one here as well, but this is more for the fire department, or the sewer department to get access to their easement. And for some reason, the fire department wants to be able to get down the railroad tracks too. So,
Okay.
there already was underneath here, the old road came up, and it basically followed the sewer easement, so we just bring them through this parking area and tying it back in. So, but that's to maintain, to get down there to be able to do maintenance on the stormwater basin.
I see.
And it also provides pedestrian access for walking, there's a bunch of trails out here, so they can walk down there, walk along the tracks, go out to the, I know a lot of people go out to the island out there to swim and stuff.
Oh. That was all my questions. Nothing. All right, I think you've answered all the questions. I don't think we have any concerns to highlight. We'll get a memo off to
All
the
right,
planning board. And, thank you for going over that with us.
sure, appreciate it.
All right, the next item we have under statutory advisory business is KTK Realty and Trust LLC. They are the applicant owner. It's the review for an acceptance and consideration of a final approval for a site plan to operate a trailer suspension and repair business. The parcel's located at 20 Star Drive in the I-1 Industrial and Aquifer Conservation Districts. Tax map is 3D-1, lot 012. So if you gentlemen would just say your name
Absolutely.
and so forth for the record. And do you need the use of that monitor? Or?
No, I don't think it's gonna be necessary.
Okay.
All right. My name is David Moran. I'm a senior real estate advisor with Berkshire Hathaway Varani Realty and a consultant to Mr. Pasquale.
My name's Keith R. Pasquale Senior, and I'm the owner of KTK Realty Trust.
Okay. I don't know if you remember our happy faces, but we were here about 4 months ago. And at that time, we had gone to the planning board and requested a waiver of site plan review and presented them with a modified plan that admittedly was quite old. They did approve us, or the change of use. We were there for a change of use. Mr. Pasquale operates North Shore Trailer, and at the time, that was not the current use of that building, so we were required to go to the planning board for a change of use. So that was basically our sole purpose. We have not made any physical changes to the property. So we're dealing with an existing building that basically has been there for, well, since the late 70s until there was an addition put in 1982. We came in and spoke about the proposed use, and at that time, during the planning board meeting, we made a commitment to revise the plan, clean it up basically, and show exactly what the existing conditions were on the site. So we've done that, and that should be the plan you have in front of you. And basically, the planning board requested that we come before this board again, or this commission again.
Do we have a plan?
No,
I didn't get a plan, yeah, okay.
we
They didn't
can
give you a
get that.
plan?
No.
That's,
And we may not need all that necessarily. We do remember when you were here, not too long. When was it?
it was 4 months ago.
4 months ago?
Yeah.
And just, if anyone wasn't here or doesn't remember, I did dig up those notes, and really, we outlined 4 concerns, or 4 questions, I won't call them concerns, with that plan. And I don't think that plan has changed a whole lot necessarily, other than some things that the planning board asked you to look into, but the things
Yes.
that we were concerned about was stormwater drainage plan. We understood that it had been prepared and discussed, but we didn't have a copy of that to review at the time. And we just wanted to make sure it was understood what the on-site, that all the on-site water was properly contained and treated.
Okay.
We also had a concern about non-invasive plants. We just wanted to see something in the plan that restricted them to, or prevented non-invasive or invasive plants or invasive species from being planted there. We also asked that you use straw and not hay. And that all future tenants, if there were future tenants on that site, that we wanted to see a stipulation that held them to the same requirements and standards that we were asking you to develop
Okay.
within.
And again, all of those are acceptable requests. We do know that we're in the Aquifer Conservation District. So in our last meeting, we talked about low phosphates and no chemical or salty ices. And again, we've included that on the plan. It will be on the new plan. So we're, committed to follow those guidelines. As far as the drainage, that became a question of concern when we were at the planning board, because basically, we didn't have any, because we weren't making any physical changes to the property, our assumption was that the drainage is the drainage, and since we're not changing anything, there should be no requirement to make any changes to the drainage. Well, since that meeting, I found a number of things out, all right? There's nothing like a little controversy to create knowledge. And during the planning board meeting, it was pointed out that the proposed drainage solution, which was accepted back in 1982, was never properly implemented. And in that interim period, the structure at the roadway at the end of Star Drive was modified first by B&M Railroad to create a crossing for one of the abutters, and then by PSNH to build their access road to their power station. And that basically happened, B&M did their crossing in 2010, 2011, PSNH came in and basically modified the road. It shows on their plans that they have a 25-foot, it's an apron, and then it's gravel. And basically that road narrows to a 20-foot crossing. That's considered a private crossing for the exclusive use of the abutter. Now, he has since granted easements to PSNH and to another abutter on the other side of the railroad. But basically, you need a code to be able to get across that gate. So it is a private crossing. So that is basically where matters stood. That is what the existing plan, and I could run out to my car and get my stick and show it to you on the screen if you'd really like to see it. But that is basically the current situation. So the solution back in 1982 to allow the water, which basically would drain naturally along the railroad tracks south towards the wastewater treatment plant, was interrupted by the creation of this crossing and the road work completed by PSNH. So, I hired an engineer. We went out there and looked at it and said, all right, what can we do? What possibly could we do to make this better? Because we can't fix it. We came up with a plan that shows a slight modification of the parking lot to create a couple of berms and reduce the amount of impervious material slightly. Again, there's only so much we can do. The other recommendation that we came up with was to put in a gutter along the side of the building that actually faces the parking lot to divert that water to the back of the building, basically between the building and the railroad tracks. Okay. Other than that, there's really not too much.
Which is, and that's just the natural surface now, there's no improvement.
There's no improvements
Right,
on
so
it,
it's just
that's
dirt
correct.
or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's a railroad bed, you know, basically, the railroad is obviously elevated slightly.
Right.
So that's where basically the water was intended to flow from 1982 on, but was interrupted in 2011. It's interesting to note, if you were to go out to Star Drive, that there is no, let's say, diversion of water anywhere along that street. The street is over 1,000 feet long. The elevation at Route 3 is over 165 feet, and at the bottom of this parking lot is 124 feet. Do the math. There's a 35-foot drop from Route 3 to the end of this cul-de-sac. So the water runs naturally right down that hill, right into the end of Star Drive, because there's nothing to stop it. Actually, if you look at the roadway itself, there's a concrete bituminous curb on the steep section. And then sometime, again in the past, two of the larger tenants on the south side of the road, where the water would naturally flow, have actually put up concrete berms. So basically what that does, prevents the water from going onto their properties, keeps it on the road. So all that water basically washes down. It's been going on that way since 1982. Again, until the abutter did his, call it a deal with PSNH in terms of selling that property and then granting them an easement, and he designated that he wanted his crossing located at the end of Star Drive. So it was actions of others to basically make it impossible today for us to even implement the plans that were approved in 1982. We met up with the town engineer out on site. It just happened to be raining that day. okay? We got a lot of rain, I'll tell you, in September. And you could see, it was pretty obvious, and, you know, Mr. Pasquale will also tell you that he's been at the site almost every day for the last several months. He's witnessed several different major rainstorms that we've had. And where the town considers the end of Star Drive to be is actually at the beginning of 20 Star Drive. From that point, the slope goes down 4 feet over maybe about 30 feet. So there's a slope right at the very end also. With everyone pushing their water towards the street, that water comes off the top of that hill like, you know, a faucet's turned on. Is there a little bit water being added to this off the parking lot at 20 Star Drive? Absolutely. Because everything was designed to flow north to south, because that's the way the terrain goes. Again, water goes towards the river. So it's going from Route 3 down towards the railroad tracks. The railroad tracks divert it, and it flows further south along the railroad tracks until it disperses. That's been going on for 40 years, okay? There's no way to fix it. So we came up with a plan to try to keep more of the water off of our roof onto the property, but I have pictures I can show you. We don't have a lake down there, okay? So when P&H did their road work, it appears that they actually built a culvert along the southern side of that dirt road that, again, was intended to pick up the water from the street and that flat area and channel it down towards the railroad tracks themselves, where it would then just naturally disperse. There's actually further wetlands down if you go further south on other people's property. So that's basically the situation we have. The plan we have does show us attempt to mitigate water flowing off the site, but we can't store it on site. We can't direct it anywhere else. We actually are applying as part of this for a drainage easement into the culvert that P&H created. So that's where we stand. If you'd like, again, I could run outside, get my stick, show you some beautiful pictures of where it looks like, but hopefully my description will suffice.
I feel like we were at this place last time we talked about this where we weren't, are we 100% clear what it is the planning board's looking for from us?
Just if we have any heartburn with it. I mean, that whole site is, that whole area is all hard packed.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not gonna get a lot of infiltration anywhere other than right along the railroad track to begin with.
Right. And again, I don't understand why the town hasn't maintained the end of the Star Drive over time. But they basically disavowed any dealings with it. So, you know, we're left to our own devices, I guess.
And where does the gutter system that you've incorporated, where does that drain into?
It'll basically take the water from the front of the building, which is the west side, and divert it to the back of the building along the railroad tracks, where there is a little bit of a depression there between the building and the railroad tracks. The building actually is 4 feet off the ground. It's a dock height. There's also a railroad spur which has been discontinued between the building and the railroad track. So if you can envision it, building, spur, which has been discontinued, and then the railroad property. So again, we're kind of limited in terms of what we can do with that spur. Right now, it's just there. Been there since the 70s.
I'm always curious with this new commuter train coming, that's gonna come through. No one's been in touch with you, or?
No one has been in touch with us.
That's interesting.
Again, and there's no really reason to
Yeah,
be contacting us. We're just one of the many abutters to the B&M Railroad.
yeah.
And again, that, I've heard also talk about that becoming a high-speed corridor.
Hmm.
And again, I'm totally in favor of it personally. I think that's a good idea to bring railroads back online. But that's only my personal opinion. But no one has been in touch with us. Again, that is, let's say, early in the discussions of potential infrastructure improvements. And I'd hazard a guess that if we see it in the next 10 years, it'd be amazing. But again, we don't cross the highway. We don't cross the railroad. So it really, there's no impact to us. Yes, it will shake the building a little bit when the trains go by, but hey.
And it does.
It's, that's an industrial zone.
This, I don't believe this building, if we tried to build it today, would be allowed to be built like this.
I agree with you.
So it's already outside, it's already operating outside of its, you know, of today's permitting. So trying to go back and fix it, you know, we're not gonna be able to do it. You're not gonna be able to do it. I mean,
No, it's
you-
impossible.
Yeah, I mean, the fix to, you know, carve up that road and build a real drainage easement, that's not reasonable.
No, not, it's,
And certainly not down here. I mean, I've been down there when it's raining. I mean, I've been down there when it's flooded. It's, I know exactly what you're
you
talking
get
about.
a fairly large puddle, but you know what's
Yeah.
interesting, within a couple of hours,
Yeah,
most of it drains away and you
Yep.
have maybe about 50 square feet
Yep.
that stays a little bit wet right at the top of where that drainage swale is.
yeah, I mean, you know, your attempts to, you know, I appreciate what you're talking about, is trying to remove some of the impervious surface there, find some place to get the water to go, and directing as much as we can to the back. I don't think we can ask a whole lot more than that. I mean, this is a permanent building, and there's some grandfathering that you have to live with.
Yeah, I didn't have any more questions, I guess. When do you go to the planning board?
We're actually going to them again tomorrow. with
You going
them.
tomorrow? Unless someone has an idea, I think
Yeah, I don't know if there's not really anything we can do.
the concerns were,
Yeah.
and questions were fielded and addressed, and we don't
Yeah,
have a
as best as you
recommendation.
can. So I mean,
Okay.
Do you want the letter to basically be the same as what we had before with the four? And just say, these are the same four recommendations we had before, or do you want no concerns?
I think we don't have any concerns. We
Okay.
certainly don't have any recommendations. Why don't I'll draft this up, Gina, and can I send it to you just for a peer review on this before we forward it off? I'll do it tonight.
Okay, all
I
right,
w-
can
I
do
would,
it
I
tonight,
think it would be
whatever.
worthwhile for us to recognize that it's not going to meet the criteria, and we're
Mhm.
accepting it. I mean,
Yep.
be explicit. Cause it's, you know, we don't wanna hang the planning board with it either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll do that during halftime.
Sounds good, okay, and I'll do the other one.
All right.
Do you know for sure that the copy of that plan's been transmitted to community development?
To whom?
To community development?
I don't know. Again, we gave this to the planning board 2 weeks ago to meet their.
That plan?
Yes, if you want, I'll leave this copy with you.
We did refer to it in the meeting, so if you have
Yeah.
another copy, you don't mind?
I can get
Thank
another
you.
copy.
Mhm.
I also have a couple of 11 by 17s, if that would be useful also.
I'll include that.
That would be.
Again, I can either make copies of and distribute them.
That would be great to leave a copy for Stephanie, if you have an
Yeah,
extra.
they're gonna want that,
Okay,
so.
okay.
Yep. We'll leave that for. Well, anyone
Anybody
else,
want
any?
this? Does anybody want a copy?
I'll put one with this.
Thank you.
No one has anyone else?
Very
Thank you,
welcome.
gentlemen, for coming, and we'll get that
No
to
worries,
them
that's
before
a-
they meet tomorrow.
It's a whole-
You're very
it's a whole
welcome.
packet.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It's a whole packet. Let me see if there's any- Thank you, guys. There's no way, it won't be allowed today.
Mm-mm.
That's what he's talking about, that spur.
This was the debate we had last time,
Yeah.
was we weren't really sure what the planning
Right.
board was asking.
Yeah, but that's what's saying, I've been down there, I know exactly, so that's that spur
Mm-hmm.
right there, they can't, you know, they have to dig that up, they have to get B&M to come in and allow to, even though it's been abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, it's just crazy.
All right. All right, let's see. The last item we have for statutory advisory business is L&W Supply is the applicant, and 260 DW LLC are the owners. It's a site plan to construct 6,800 square feet of storage building. The parcel is located at 17 Smith Road in the Aquifer Conservation District. Tax map is 3D-2, lot 009-02. And Mr. Chamberlain's back to talk to us about this
Yes.
one.
Merrimack Building Supply.
Hello again, Nathan Chamberlain, Fieldstone Land Consultants. As stated, this is L&W Supply on Smith Road. Zoned industrial, it's approximately 3 acres. It's an existing supply business, building supplies. And they have some containers down here they're looking to get rid of and build a new storage building here. So, you know, the reg pavement is basically here now, and this is a gravel area. They already have some shelves out here. I just mentioned the containers. They have a loading dock here for, you know, tractor trailers. So there's a 4-foot loading dock on the building, and then it goes up, and this is at grade, this part here. So we're just looking to add a building over in here. It's gonna be built into the slope. And also, what's gravel now, they'll be paved, and they're gonna add some more, or make the storage shelves a little more defined than what's out there now.
You're gonna pave that whole other section?
Yeah, this section, the area that's gravel now will be paved. So there's not a lot of runoff coefficient, there's not a big change in runoff coefficient from gravel to pavement. As was stated on the earlier application, as are all heartburn. But at any rate, so this building here, it is in the building setback. They did receive a variance to allow that to happen. They also are proposing to redo this wall in the back here. There's an existing wall, it says Jersey barrier, so, you know, I haven't been out there, and look at the pictures. It sounds like it's probably needs to be replaced, so that's what they're proposing here with a better wall, I guess. And as I mentioned, this will be paved, this will be curbed, this edge will be curbed, and there's a catch basin proposed here. And there's this little island in the middle will also have a head wall in it, going to the catch basin and then going into this area. So there's a low point there already, currently. If we look to the grading plan, they have an existing infiltration basin out front here. Then they have a low area and a driveway culvert. And so we're proposing to, and everything pretty much drains down to this location now, currently. So basically proposing to mimic that, put a catch basin in the corner of the parking. Enlarge this area a little bit to allow for some infiltration, and then it goes into the existing infiltration basin there. And that's pretty much it. We did submit a lighting plan. So there's a couple lights proposed to light the parking area. Some building lights on here for the storage building. And we did, so there's existing landscaping out there now along the street frontage. We are proposing a little bit of landscaping in this island, and I guess these are boulders down here. Those must be existing. But we do have all, you know, the standard notes about the being in the aquifer protection district, you know, no salt use, Green Snow Pro, certified person to push the snow around. Speaking of snow, there's ample room for snow storage out in the front yard here, which I assume it's currently being stored now, because this, you know, they're using this area now currently for storage, and we're just basically paving what's now gravel. So we did submit a full drainage report showing that we mitigating our stormwater runoff effectively. So this decreases in runoff and volume for all the storms analyzed. The typical towns, what they require, and that was submitted with the application.
Do you have a note off the top of your head if it was more or less, do you remember?
I just said it was less than all
Less?
storms, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're close, but it is less.
Sorry.
Don't wanna over-design anything.
Is this storage specific, or is it just for general rental use?
No, it's for their business, their building supply.
So building supplies are gonna be stored there?
Right. So there's roofing stuff out there, there's some metal stuff, it must be for metal roofing, I'm not exactly sure what they,
There's a lot of stuff out there now,
yeah.
Yeah.
you go out there.
So, you know, they wanna put this building in to get more covered space.
I might have missed it, but the two things that I tend to look for, native plants only, and straw instead of hay. So I'm not sure if they were in here and I just missed it. I saw the Green Snow Pro, I saw the fertilizer. You don't have to, I just want to make sure that you are aware of those.
Sure.
Okay,
I think we've gotten the hay off everything.
okay,
We haven't had that comment quite a few trips here, so.
okay, good.
Uh,
I just didn't see it anywhere.
so. He's got, it looks like he's only proposing one plant. And Bayberry, Myrica, Gensilica. I can't. So, I can have him double check and make sure it's on the town's list.
Anyone else? When does this go back? Oh,
That's my list.
you actually
There
have the
is-
list.
I have the list. It's not Barberry, is it? You
Says
don't-
Bayberry.
Okay, you don't want Barberry.
Okay. So there was a stormwater management plan submitted with it's part of the drainage report and there's a note on the plan I saw that requires the owner to follow that stormwater management plan, maintain his stormwater system. The BMPs.
And when do you go back before the planning board on this?
That I'm not sure, I know it's not on tomorrow,
Okay.
so it'll probably be 2 weeks from now. I'm not sure their holiday schedule, but.
I will go review with them to make sure we get the summary of those stormwater management plans. Part
Make
of
sure
it.
they're part of the review.
Anyone else have any questions or concerns? No?
Alright.
Thank you for coming again,
Thank you,
and we'll get this back to the planning board in plenty of time.
appreciate that.
Eric, you good?
Yeah, I'm just investigating the plan.
Oh,
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that gets us through statutory advisory business, takes us to new business. The first item we have up for new business is the proposed 2022 Conservation Commission meeting dates. Did anyone have a chance to look this over?
Yeah.
Thank you, Gina, for putting this together. Did anyone have a concern or recommendation?
Nope.
All right, we'll go ahead and accept that.
I'm not gonna make the September 19th meeting,
Of this year or next year?
2020,
Of this year?
2022.
we're already,
You already know that.
yeah,
All right,
And I'll add these to our calendar.
fabulous. Well, moving on, the 2022 Seedling Catalog. Did everyone get this? Should have came and eat? No? Did anyone get this other than me?
I read it.
The person that didn't share it?
before She sent it.
I might have got it.
Well, I don't think it's important that we have read it tonight before now, but
Yeah,
I.
actually, I did get it, yeah.
You did? I can re-forward this to everybody, but I think it's critical that we place an order and place it soon.
sooner.
Because things sell out. I know from past experiences, there's a lot of passion around what items we select. And we could talk about this at a lot of future meetings, or we could appoint some representatives to just order for the commission.
Gage does an excellent job. Gage, I trust you.
I will gladly put together a proposal and get it out to you guys I'm gonna, again, like we do every year, I'm gonna try to keep the money and the number of trees kinda similar. And we use previous years, you know, the amount of trees left over from the previous year, we use those as the measuring stick of which ones not to get this year, so. I'll continue to do that, and I'll send it out, and you guys can have a chance and look at it and say yes or no.
Thank you.
Now,
So maybe we'll throw this on an agenda for January. That should,
If, once we get an approval, I mean, I'd rather just go ahead and order it.
I wonder if we should make that motion then tonight, is it?
Yeah, I mean, the prices of this have stayed pretty, you know, they haven't gone up much. They're pretty much the same.
I honestly would make a motion just to say that I trust Gage, and if he gets everything together, let him just place the order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be very similar and along the same lines as the ones we've done every year, except we gotta do it early, so this time we can order Pussy Willow, because everyone complains that we don't ever get it.
Wait, what is our typical budget, $450?
Yeah,
Let's
we're
go-
under $500.
Let's
All
say
right.
not to exceed 600,
All
allow
right,
for a
so-
little inflation.
So I make a motion that the Conservation Commission allows Gage Perry to create a list for items to be sold at our 2022 seedling giveaway with the budget not to exceed $500.
And place the order
And
out
place
of,
the order out of Fund 53.
I second that motion. Any further discussion needed about this? Yeah.
Yes, I don't know if it has to be with his order or separate, but the Sklar Subcommittee might be discussing ordering some wetland varieties.
I think we probably wanna do that separate,
Separate.
right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's all.
So you have, you have this stuff here. You know where to see this? You know where to find this?
Yeah, I got it.
So, but I'm gonna, same thing. If you guys wanna do it soon
Mm-hmm.
and get it done, because we were late last year and we lost a lot, well, we didn't lose anything, but we ended up having to get a couple substitutes and a couple things that we've never been able to get, that we run out of, that we've gotten twice, the Pussy Willow, they're gone,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
We
any of
had
this stuff.
some left over though one year, I remember. I whined for them and we ordered a lot and then we had a bunch left over.
Pussy Willow?
Yeah. I was
think
I'll go look,
surprised.
I'm not gonna disagree with you, but I'll go look. I can,
like soon is good.
I
Soon
can
is
tell,
good.
I'll be able to tell you exactly what we had left over.
Okay, do we want to, do you have a budget in mind?
For me,
Yeah.
I haven't even talked to the subcommittee, so I don't know.
Well,
So-
what are you planning on planting?
Well, we need to revegetate part of the area we cleared. So we'll discuss what variety to get. I imagine some trees and bushes. Also, for the ruts, we might want to put some wetland varieties there, since they're constantly wet. It might be good to speed up the.
So what do you think would be, I mean, $100? How much do you think you would need?
How much is it for 25? I can't remember. It was really cheap.
It's not expensive, but you're looking at.
The wetland pack.
It's usually.
Probably just once we have more information,
Some of the special.
revisit it,
Yep.
don't you
Okay,
think?
yeah, I'm just thinking for him to get his order then.
Yeah. We meet again in 2 weeks.
No.
No?
Well, I'm not gonna be
$35
there.
per package.
Do we
We're
need to?
talking
We're
about-
scheduled to.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's true. We don't, yeah.
maybe $100.
So maybe we come back in January when we have a list, and
Yeah.
All right, okay, so if you get us a list,
they're kind of separate issues. This is a recurring,
right,
Yeah.
every year,
yeah.
backed by popular demand type event.
Yeah.
Any further discussion needed on this?
No.
I assure you, I won't be passionate about what species we select. I'm only passionate about showing up and promoting whatever we get.
Yeah, right.
All right, well, let's vote on this. All in favor of this motion? Gage?
Yeah, cages and bucket.
All right, motion carries 7-0. The next item was the request from a resident in town to hunt on a portion that, I'm sorry, yeah,
Continue.
Oh,
Continue.
to hunt on land near Riverside Park. You know, he asked to come to us and speak about this. He's not here, but that makes sense because hunting season ended Sunday. So it's kind of probably. I guess the item maybe we should discuss now is if someone comes. You know, this is one of our properties.
Mhm.
It's within Chapter 111.
Mhm.
Is this something really someone needs to come here as long as they're doing it lawfully and
No, in chapter 1111, that means they can't hunt there.
That's right.
is this one of the restricted parcels?
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Is that why he wanted to
Restricted
speak
for
to us?
hunting or target practice?
Well, we're hunting for everything.
Everything.
It's passive.
I didn't know this was one of the
Right
restricted.
now, I mean, we are saying that we wanna keep it there when things, you know, when we go, but right now, it's already in there. 'Cause I
Under
went back
old
to-
chapter.
Yeah, it's
okay.
already in chapter 111, I
I
went
see.
back to see.
I wondered why we were.
What,
I
Tim?
think unless he makes a compelling argument, we should keep it the way it is.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't matter now. He had indicated he wanted to come and plead his case in front of us.
Yeah, so from Tim's project on 111, he said this property is currently in chapter 111, which limits the discharge of firearms and motorized use. Right now,
Limits?
it's being used by the neighborhood mostly and being located in popular residential area of our town. Well, I think limits, meanings you can't do it in this.
No, prohibits means you can't do it. Limits means there's limits.
I'm interested to know if it's posted.
Yeah, I think we need some clarification on it. It limits, but it doesn't
Well,
limit.
this is just, I mean, I'm not reading like from, this is just a narrative.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not
I know.
reading from a particular
Yeah.
thing, but,
I think we just need to find out for sure. But you know, like you said, this is already past due, so. Because like, you know, we limit, this is limiting. You know, we're saying you can't use it for target practice. Doesn't mean we're limiting it to hunting only, instead of prohibiting discharge of any firearm. You see what I'm saying, the difference?
I guess we don't know what his intent was.
Well,
It
it's,
wasn't a
no,
lot of information. He just wanted.
he was requesting to hunt
Mhm.
on open land.
mhm.
So, I don't think we can, it's, you know, other than the deed, and if it says no discharge or passive use only, then that's
Mhm.
that. But if it's open land, hunting's allowed in New Hampshire, so,
Mhm.
as long as he's following the
Provided
laws.
he's doing it in accordance with
Right,
hunting regulations.
so it's just gonna have to be where it falls on the,
Yeah, but
The deed.
the deed is a big,
oh yeah,
governor.
alright, well,
All right. Well, moving on. Yeah. We had new business. We had two candidates that were gonna come tonight.
All
Nancy
right.
Kelly and Weston Cole.
Yep, so they have, to bring their pet to the vet at 6. They said they'd be here about 8 o'clock. I figured 3 realtors would, push us. So if we could move that to the end of the meeting to give them a little more time.
Push that off.
So they're together?
Yeah, they live on Jennifer Drive, the next street over.
See, next
is this
item was.
is this the couple that always walks their dogs down here?
I don't know.
They're great,
Oh.
really nice people.
Hmm.
I thought they were, I was, like, every time I go down there, I see them down there. Okay.
So, sorry, just to go back real quick, it does say on the back of this, it limits for any purpose excluding police personnel.
What are you looking for? What are you looking at?
Under 111-3, on the back of the chapter 111.
We could do that.
What if he's a cop?
Yeah. Can we
Well,
do
if
that?
he's doing for official purposes, I don't think killing animals is,
For any purpose excluding
official
police
police.
personnel or official purposes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm saying,
Okay.
that's that limit, that's right.
Okay.
You look at the, what was that?
And it's listed there for
Yep,
B
no, that's
35,
that limits, that's prohibiting.
It's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
but,
it's just-
We have another one, so look at 111(1)E.
yeah,
You see for the purpose of target shooting. So
Right,
it's
so
saying
there's-
that's limiting it to hunting only.
right, right.
Okay, so that's all we're saying.
Yes.
You know, Gina brought up a good idea with those two candidates for Scholar. You know them, you probably both know them,
I
right?
haven't met him.
You haven't,
I met him. I walked with him through it.
I mean, we don't always,
Are you comfortable with us just approving them? And do you have their phone number you could text?
They're more like you.
I mean, they wanna
it's
join the
good.
subcommittee, how did they get interested? They met you down there?
I put it on Facebook that there
Alright.
was openings for
Yeah.
alternates, and they live on Jennifer Drive, right next to it. So they said they're always down there.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it.
Do you have their phone number you could text them?
Yeah, I got it. I just texted one of them to
Why don't
let
you
us know.
text them and tell them we're gonna vote on it now, save them a trip?
Oh, okay.
Unless they wanna bring their dog and can make
Yeah.
their dog
Yeah.
now.
Well,
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, we're trying to be cautious. We're trying not to
Yeah.
expose everybody. There's,
mhm,
I'd like to meet him because we just like to meet everybody and face to face, but we're already not face to face, so,
mhm.
I
and
have
then
the
I'll
motion.
drag them here at a
No,
later date.
yeah. we
I have
can-
the motion all written up, I can make
Go,
it right now.
let it rip, there, Chip.
All right, so I am going to make a motion to appoint Nancy Kelly to the Sklar Waterfront Park Subcommittee as an alternate member for a term to expire July 31st. What do you want, Mike, 2024? That's 3 years.
Yeah.
2024.
Motion by Gina?
I'm not seated.
Second by
Second.
Ellen.
You sure are.
Okay. You wanna vote on that one, then I'll make the next?
Yes, all in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, I'm gonna make another motion to appoint Weston Cole to the Sklar Waterfront Park Subcommittee as an alternate member for a term to expire July 31st, 2024.
Motion by Gina, I'll second.
Motion, second by Steve.
Any discussion needed? No? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
There, you saved him a trip.
Oh, good.
There
I
you
let
go.
them know.
You texted them already?
Mike, you asked for the second item to be on here, finances, or this next item, finances, and you provided something that's in our packet.
Yeah.
So you wanna talk to us about that?
All right. I can't remember what exactly I provided you, but it was quite a bit of things. All right. So as some of you may know, we lost $110,000 in the past year since hitting our cap. All that went into the general fund instead of our fund. Now Litchfield ran into the same problem and they lost 35,000 about. So what they are doing is they are, one, putting a warrant article to raise their cap, and two, another warrant article to transfer those lost funds back into the conservation fund. And I think we should do the same, since if they're doing it for 35,000 and we have 3 times that almost, you know, that's not a small bit of change. And I know how you guys are with your pennies.
There's a
Yes.
point there, but my only concern is alienating the town council. I'm not sure how,
They can be part of it.
yeah, how they would how they feel about that. That'd be great.
It might be worthwhile discussing it with them before we say we wanna put a warrant article up. We have a little bit of time, not a lot, but,
What does the timeline look like for something like that?
I don't know, the warrant article, Tim's the one that had all those dates in his head. I'm not gonna pretend to be able to come up, unless you know him.
I don't know it, but I agree that advising the town council early in the process would be a chance to get more advocates instead of people going, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would have the option to vote on it, right? They could raise the cap themselves, I believe. And aren't they the ones that
Well-
voted on this before? It was like
No, it
100%,
was-
and then
it
it went
was-
to 50%?
No, I think it was warrant articles.
It really depends. If it's a warrant article, then only
Yeah.
a warrant article could raise it. If it was a town council, then the town council could do it.
And naturally, we'd want to be careful about our messaging around this. It's not,
Absolutely.
it's certainly not lost.
Yep.
It's town money
Yes.
that's still in the town, it's just in a different fund.
Yep.
I mean, our approach to this, we want to be savvy and diplomatic, and it's just, we would want those resources to stay in Fund 53 so that they could go toward conservation properties.
Cause I thought Tim always said that to the town council, well, you guys voted for this, so you could change it if you wanted to.
I don't know, that was a warrant article.
Was it?
The initial, I know the initial one was a warrant article, I don't,
It's been changed since then, I think.
oh, yeah, because that was why it was changed, is because
To drop
the
it.
fund was tick, 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 tick. No one realized how much money was in the LUCT taxed. It was not,
Okay.
we didn't know.
Yeah,
I mean, but that's how we purchased, we purchased a lot of property for, Greater Woods. We purchased the small parcels. We made as much greenway as we can. I mean, that was where that money came from.
oh, yeah, we put it
So,
to good use.
And it would, we could make a much more compelling argument to do something like that if there was a specific parcel or parcels that we really felt like we needed to have and we don't
Well,
have the
there are.
resources for it.
There's parcels
Are
I
there?
want, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is some,
Yeah.
we can
And-
talk about that sometime. I
Yes.
guess.
Even things like improvements such as bridges
Mm-hmm,
that are incredibly expensive.
mm-hmm.
That,
Oh, what about the bridge?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah, exactly. There's things like that that are just incredibly expensive and get used by, a great deal of people.
You talking about Wildcat?
Yeah, the Maryland's Miranda's Bridge.
I do think that the way to position it to town council, because town council has said many times that we don't need to
Yep.
buy any more land. So I do think that we need to point out, that we need to maintain the land that we have, because I know we have a bridge on North Loop and Wildcat that needs some repair and possibly to be replaced. But I think that the town council should also take into consideration, there's not much land
Yeah.
left.
Right.
So if we can get what we can get and stock our coffers now, it might carry us for a little while. Otherwise, we're gonna be having to come to the town to get money to fix these things.
Yep.
So we need to figure out a way, and it would be nice to talk to Andy about this, so Andy can bring it to the town council. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go make a presentation.
I think we all have the feeling here that we want to do this, but cautiously,
Yes.
Yep.
diplomatically.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
this is a business plan,
Yeah.
and that's
Mhm.
what we need to present it as. This is a business plan, this is what we're gonna use the money for, this is how we're gonna use it, this is what our intention is with it when we do it. So I think that's the only way we can approach this.
As far as I know, well, the vote is in April? And as far as I know, I think you need like 50 signatures to get a warrant article in, I think.
Unless the town council puts it on as an official
I don't think that's
article.
a warrant article though, is it? I thought a
Warrant
warrant-
article, yeah, warrant article, you need signatures.
Yeah,
But
warrant article is,
we can get 50 signatures.
yeah, we could
Mhm.
get 50 signatures, that's not a problem.
All the subcommittees, us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a
Spouses.
problem.
Yeah, so we're
Subcommittees.
pretty good. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Ellen, Eric? Any thoughts on this?
I mean, if we're looking for ideas where to spend money, there are a few bridges that need repairing on Horse Hill that I was gonna bring up in the subcommittee section, but
It's cheaper to repair than to replace,
mhm.
so preventative maintenance.
Anything?
I agree.
Mhm.
I agree with what Eric said, and we're gonna be mentioning more about that
Yeah.
in the subcommittee things, but believe me, there are
Mhm.
repairs that are gonna be a whole lot easier to take care of sooner than later. But we
So-
need the resources for that.
What would we like, I'm happy to recap, I've got some notes here, I'm happy to recap this discussion we had, and maybe find some time with Andy and sit down and go over this with him, arm him with it and get his feedback.
Right off the top, so we're thinking of changing the cap to what?
2 million?
Yeah, to what value does it go to?
Mhm.
I don't think that there's enough land in land use to even bring it to 2 million. I think we just lift the cap. Because it's the money that goes into land use. What's left? I don't have a list of what's left, but somebody's gotta have a list of what's left, so that we can see.
Yeah, we had a list, we have a list.
It's
Yeah.
very,
Yeah, we have a
it's
list.
small.
Paul can, it's getting smaller.
There's not a lot.
Yeah.
So I do think that we should point out to town council that, you know, at some point, the land use funds will dry up, and any money coming into Fund 53 will dry up, but our needs will not dry up.
Right.
We're still gonna need, you know, and we've been good, we haven't been buying much land. If we can get a parcel that's, you know, gonna expand to Greater Woods or another property, then, yeah, we might look into it, but it's
Yep.
not like we're flagrantly going out and buying every parcel we can find, so.
I do, so a couple of years ago, well, I think last year is when they finished it, I think it was GZA did the, land survey of Merrimack, where they, I think they listed the, 20 most, high value, as in ecologically high value lands.
There's like a colored map, yeah.
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 And also a list of, wetland restoration targets. So I mean, if we are looking for things to look at, I mean, I don't think these are lands for sale necessarily, just high-value lands that aren't owned by the town at the moment, or owned by the commission.
Yeah, they were just lands, regardless of who
Yeah.
owns them. They were not,
Yeah. So I was just thinking of like, potential targets of, you know, like, if we do have something to spend money on.
Well, and I don't think too, I mean, Ellen, you just took the class on the wildlife corridors. When we buy a parcel of land, it doesn't have to be, you know, we don't have to develop it into, you know,
That's right, there's value in making sure that there are greenways for different
Yes.
things, and making sure that we have a way, like, you know, if a wildlife corridor happens to be across a major, not that this is happening now, but like happens to be across the Everett, do we wanna look into putting in a tunnel?
yes,
We wanna have the resources to do that.
yes, I agree.
As it is now, there's almost quite a corridor going from, Horse Hill up through Greater Woods and Washington and up into Amherst. I mean, it's almost.
that was the goal.
And it didn't happen by accident.
No,
Yeah.
that's right, that was the goal.
Anything else on this?
Now, the second part of it is, I think we should have some sort of a buffer from the cap, unless we get rid of the cap or raise it, to prevent further loss, 'cause I didn't hear any of you say we dumped $100,000 recently, so no one was actually aware of it. So,
Well, what I heard was you saying, you know, we lost X amount of money, and then I heard Steve saying it's not been lost, it's in another fund. So can you
Well,
explain
that's
to me,
right.
it lapsed to general funds, what, okay.
I think that's exactly what it is, right?
out of our
It's-
control is
it's-
what I mean.
Yeah.
It
so
stays within the town, it just goes
it's-
into
yeah, it
general
goes into
fund.
general fund.
Okay.
So we take 80, we take 50%.
50, yeah.
It's like, I think we take, so if we're below our cap and something sells and the LUCT is assessed, we take 50% of that assessment value towards our cap, and the other 50% goes to the general fund. And once we hit our cap, 100% goes to the general fund.
Yep.
Where, when this first went into effect, the initial law was with the Conservation Commission that gets funded by the LUCT money. So everything that was selling in town was going, the LUCT funds were going to us.
If this is off topic, let me know, but at what point do you find out that we've hit a limit? Who audits this?
It's the town finance.
Yeah,
You know,
So what's the lag time?
well,
We don't really get notified.
yeah, we don't get notified, that's
yeah.
the thing,
We should.
we
I
should.
found out
Yeah.
from the finance director.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we discovered this when we did our annual report.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't,
Yeah,
no siren goes off when you hit it.
Yeah.
And it could be one transfer, land transfer
Yeah.
that put us over that limit.
it's a fluid account, so money's coming in and going out, so, and, I mean, the town finance person has other accounts that they're looking at, so I don't think that they stop and think, let me tell them. But the bottom line is that, or my feeling is that, when we have a need, we spend,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't spend frivolously, because even if the money doesn't come to Fund 53, it still goes to the town.
Right.
It's not lost. The town will use it the way that the town needs to use it, and it goes to benefit all people in the
Yeah, 'cause
town.
if you look at the parcels, we own some and the town owns some.
Exactly.
So they have bought parcels that are in conservation easement, so it's not like it's a lost cause, it's just,
We never know when the opportunity for purchasing a critical
Right.
parcel will happen.
Yep.
It just kinda happens.
Right.
It's like an
Mhm.
opportunity.
the Dorn hole goes up for sale, our $1 million is going down by at least 500K. Look at it that way. If that Dorn hole goes up for sale and we can get it,
Mm-hmm.
that we've taken at least half that money out of that account.
And that's why I'm careful not to,
Yep.
you know.
No, I know, I'm just saying, but that's how, we think, everyone's like $1 million, oh my God, $1 million, it's
It goes fast.
Mm-hmm.
not that much anymore.
No. It
Now, I
goes fast.
expect in the next few months that we'll be spending some money, hopefully on the shed tonight, some tools, once we have the shed.
Did you have something written up to show us the price of the shed, and
I gave it to Steve.
You did that in the past, I think, right?
Yeah,
was that in
we're
our?
jumping ahead.
That's
We've
right.
got it under old business.
Okay.
Was this all we wanted to talk about with finances?
I think so.
What about the advertisement, Merrimack TV?
Alright, so we did this in Hudson. So you know how you're watching the community TV and it has the waiting screen before the meetings and in between things? So what the Hudson Conservation Commission did was use that to advertise the properties. I think we should do that.
On Merrimack TV?
So you would just make little short clips,
Yeah.
video clips of the parcels, walking around them?
It would even be slides, isn't it?
Yeah, or
This is the
slides
sort of
and-
thing it's like a slow slideshow while
Yeah.
things are
Mhm.
going on between broadcast.
Yeah.
I
Put
know.
our events,
I
you
knew
know,
that.
seedling giveaway, hikes. you
I
know.
think it's a great idea.
Doesn't cost any money for us.
Would you,
I'll do it.
you ready to take the reins of this project?
Yeah,
Could be fi-
We got the slideshow already running on the website, so all those pictures are available to us, and we can just mark,
Mhm.
just put a little, Greater Woods, Horse Hill.
I wouldn't even be able to tell you who the point of contact, who would you reach out to, Nick or something about?
I'll figure it out.
We can find out.
You can,
Yeah,
We can find out.
we've got a source.
you can
Okay.
leave Wildcat off.
Yeah.
We had enough excitement down there.
Anything else on that topic?
Nope.
All right, let's move on to old business. First one is chapter 111. Everyone got this, right?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. So, we talked about this a little at the last meeting. We're at this point now. Has everyone had a chance to review it? Does anyone have concerns with it? This was a document, a proposal rather, that was years in the making. Unless someone's got a reservation, I think we're ready to move forward, and Paul had told me he would get this in the right the right person at legal's hands to do their formal review.
Perfect.
I told him we'd talk about it tonight before we move forward. All right?
Question.
Mhm.
Why can't people drink alcohol on conservation land, but they can drink soda?
You'd have been here, I guess, 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Was it a real problem?
You know, this got
People
talked
getting
about.
drunk in the woods and
Yeah.
fighting the bears?
I don't know, they leave a lot of trash from it, but
I think all these things were discussed a couple of years ago.
There was a lot of dialogue around that one in particular. That was
Yeah.
one of the more
Cause that.
debated topics,
yeah,
that hunting.
It caused parties in the woods, which is,
Oh.
caused trash.
Mhm.
They can't party without alcohol?
They apparently
I
not.
never drank before.
I know when I find cans, they're usually alcohol cans.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not picking up Pepsi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Dunkin' Donuts, that's how you guess it.
I did
Hmm.
find,
Mostly beer.
I did find an old regular Keystone pop-top Schlitz can the other day out in the sun. It's the real steel can. Everything.
Wow.
It's like, wow, it's really cool.
All right, any other comments, questions about this? All right, we'll go ahead and move forward now. Once the legal has had an opportunity to review it, we'll need to go back.
And
Back,
Tim Tenhave is dumb, right?
no, he's the one that,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been contacted, he's all set.
Yeah,
He's doing
yep.
it.
all right, moving on. Lsip, are we good to go? Did that get submitted?
It hasn't been submitted yet. I want to make sure because we haven't had an in-person meeting since I agreed to do it. Well, we have, but I wasn't here at the last
Mhm.
meeting. I just want to make sure there was nothing anyone wanted to add to it.
I gave you my feedback was pretty limited to who was there and
Yeah.
And Gage gave you the route and
coordinates for- Someone gave me Gage's coordinates. So, yeah, and then it's ready to go. I just wanted to make sure that no one had any things they needed to say to me in person about it.
Did you get some photos?
Yeah, you sent me photos, I believe.
yeah,
Mike-
someone.
Mike Druin was
Mike
gonna
did
send
you
photos.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you did send me photos, I believe.
Oh, I did? Okay.
Or maybe you didn't.
I
We'll send them
so many
again.
photos.
All right, well, thank you for doing that, Eric.
Probably just include the photos from last year. No one's gonna tell. the difference.
Oh, it was
I
snowing
don't-
last year, actually. There was snow on the ground.
Oh, well, the year before then.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right, the
then they're
next
gonna say,
item.
Hold up a newspaper with the date.
With the
right now."
date. We'll know this year's, because we couldn't have asked for better weather,
Yeah.
Really.
so it was enjoyable. Mike, the next item, I think is something you asked to add, the shed?
Oh, yeah. All right. So I submitted 3 quotes to Steve. I think he forgot them.
Yeah, they didn't make it into the packet, but do you have,
All right.
can you talk about the prices? It was
All right.
basically 3 different prices from
So
Reed's
it was
Ferry.
about $13,480, I believe, for
13,000?
a 12 by 20 shed from Reed's Ferry, delivered and installed there.
Delivered and installed, but are
Well,
they
it
giving
comes in
us?
pieces and they put together the pieces.
Like on a flatbed truck, they have
Yeah.
them all
Yeah.
pre-assembled.
It shows up
They come
pre-assembled and
load it.
they are partially assembled and they assemble it on
Yeah.
site.
Yeah.
Is there footings or something? Is there something underneath that they put
We
it on, or
would
they just
be
dump it on the ground?
responsible for whatever we wanna put under it. They
So-
just ask at the minimum, crushed rock, at the minimum. I think we'd wanna put concrete, so it lasts as long as it's warranted, which is 30 years,
So we'd need to put down a concrete pad then.
basically.
So we need a price on that.
Yeah.
That's like another 15 grand.
How much?
I mean, what's
It's
wrong
not
with
gonna
that?
Concrete's crazy expensive right
Yeah,
now.
what's wrong with
Mhm.
like
Or we could use, what are those things?
The
sonotubes?
Bigfoot?
Yeah, sonotubes, which would be cheaper, I think.
No,
Or
I'd rather have crushed stone, something that's gonna drain underneath
I
it,
mean,
and not
whatever
be,
we
not be wet.
use, you know, if crushed stone is enough, then that's it. We don't need something fancy. But it's warranted for 30 years, as long as we maintain it, like, it's not peeling paint or whatever, they will replace anything that breaks.
What kind of construction is it?
Except the doors. It's wood construction, PT floor, roll-up steel door at the ends.
2x6, 2x4?
It's like 8-foot door. 2x4s, I believe. There's also, so here's a door at the end, the roll-up door, and on the side right here, on the corner, there's another door for, in case someone gets stuck inside, they're able to get out. It's just a safety thing, they said. There's no windows, so no one can break into it. The doors come with a lock, and the sliding door comes with a special thing that you can put the lock in. Yeah. They did not have metal roofing, so it would be regular shingles. so.
Do we know where this can go yet? Just as a Bishop Field, I
I
know.
talked to
Field.
Paul McCallie about it, he recommended, he said the area he recommended is Bishop Field near the one you built however many years ago.
So,
What would you?
there's a MYA, we put a shed up on the MYA field there, but that field was slated for a fire station.
Yeah, there was a.
So, and then the town put the barriers up for the field, which, fine, great, but I don't believe that fire station's that's still designated for as a spot for a fire station.
Well, I'm sure Paul would have,
So, I'm just,
Yeah. There was a vote at one time
Yeah.
to approve funds for a fire station there, I
Yeah.
remember that.
right,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and it passed.
Oh, it did?
I thought-
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought-
Yeah,
I
I
thought-
was excited, because that would have affected my neighborhood.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it passed.
Yeah, that site was, that site, I believe it was passed, cause that site was gonna be designated for a fire department if they were going to expand the fire department,
Oh, I thought it got voted down.
so.
I think the basis of his recommendation was that it was centrally located. There's space there, it's town-owned, and it was visible enough that it would dissuade people from doing the wrong
Yep.
thing.
Well, off the end, if going towards the school, off the end of Bishop Field, you can walk out there, there's soil, and then it kinda drops off at the end, and that's really sandy, very sandy soil over there. It drains very well, it drains very quickly. So, I don't know where that MYA shed is now, if we could be just further down, more in the woods behind it. You know, kinda more closer to the school. Might be a little better spot.
Wherever it goes, we can change the delivery until the delivery date. So,
So, how'd you come up with 12 by 20 as opposed to like 12 by 16?
well, there was different ones, but that was the one I'm most,
12 by 20, that needs a
Interesting.
building permit, doesn't it?
Yeah, over 100 square feet.
well, that was the one I'm most interested in, so I didn't remember the other sizes.
Why do we
But-
need it so big? I mean, if we have some sort of ride-on, or if we have something that big that we're gonna cut, grass with, or cut trails, then we need to get a trailer, because how else are we gonna get it from place to place?
Well, we could borrow one of Litchfield's 3 trailers that they have. I mean,
I don't think we're gonna do that.
what
Yeah,
I'm
if we
thinking
need
of,
something transported, we'd have to call DPW.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the future. This shed is warranted for 30 years. It's gonna last at least 30 years, past all of us. It's gonna be a completely new board. We don't want them cursing us for getting something inadequate.
I don't care if
I've
they're
been cursed
cursing.
at by experts.
Who's he put to put a shelf life on us?
I'm elderly, just so you know. He's
Michael,
already
you
told me
mentioned,
that.
3 bids, or, 3 quotes, excuse me.
Yes.
Was this the, I assume it was for the same thing, a 12 by 20 shed, 3 quotes on that?
No, it's 3 different sizes.
Okay, and was this the smallest of them?
This was the largest of them.
Okay, so you do have numbers on something
Yeah.
smaller, okay.
Now, it was back ordered all the way to March, and that was roughly a month ago. And the prices will be increasing after December.
How much are the smaller ones? Excuse me.
I think it was 8,000 and 11,000.
How much was the 8,000? How big was that?
Here, I'm sorry, Mike, I did have them in here
You do?
from last time.
Oh, good.
Here, you wanna read them?
All right. 10 by 14 is $7,334. The 12 by 16 is $9,913. Oh, that's even better. The 12 by 20 is $11,489.
Yeah, but is that delivered
Yes,
and put together?
yes.
All right, so what did you say, it was 11,000?
$11,489.
I don't see why we need one that big. I think that's pretty big.
Well, it's 4,000 more than the smallest one. So, and from the next one down, it's only 1,500.
I mean, what tools are you proposing that we buy to put in the shed?
Tools, safety equipment, you know, helmets. I don't know what we're gonna buy. I imagine a variety of things. We might want a push mower. Who knows what a future commission will buy?
Okay, I'm reluctant to spend even $7,334 on a shed if we don't know exactly what we're putting in that shed, so.
How can we know what we're gonna put into it unless we have a place to store these things? You know,
Well, I think we need a plan on what are we going to put into them, you know?
I could spend many hours putting together a list just to have this shed not approved, and then the whole list is trash. I'm not willing to do that.
Gage can empty his
Yeah, I can empty my shed. I'd love to have a place to put my bicycles in there.
So,
Yeah, I guess I'm with Gina too. If we had the shed, what would we use for? Right now, we'd put a couple duck boxes in it,
4,
4 duck boxes,
I have one in my
boxes.
basement.
5
5 duck boxes.
boxes.
but are you gonna be here?
Partial,
No, I'm elderly, so
Kiosk.
I'll probably be dead, so, in
Well,
30 years.
I mean, short term, are you gonna be here and available to use your basement? You know, it's just an inconvenience for us to use our own storage spaces. We should have a proper place like every other conservation commission around. Merrimack, you know,
I can't believe that we don't have any, the DPW or something doesn't have some place that we can store stuff that we can get to.
Well, and I don't know that we asked this question correctly. What we asked specifically last time we discussed this in this group, I went back with our notes and I asked Paul specifically about the storage of gas-powered chainsaws. I think that was wasn't that the tool we were talking about? And of course, that had other problems. It needed to be a storage place with secondary containment and fire extinguishers and all those sorts of things, because it's a gas-powered. So, back to, you know, what are we using this shed for?
electric.
If there's nothing gas-powered, then it changes the ask considerably.
Oh, yeah, would you like us to spend $15,000 to store, or can DPW find it in its heart to give us,
Mhm.
carve out space? That might be one way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Are we buying a
Not to
gas
be,
powered?
not to be confrontational or anything.
Right.
I
Something
think
that
we
would
could get away with electric tools. Throw a
The
solar panel on the
Electric
roof,
tools are good now.
get some battery backpacks.
Mhm.
So,
Electric tools are good.
I mean, if the gas-powered thing led to a lot of the concern, and I can understand
Mhm.
how it would with containment and so forth, all right, let's shift the discussion. We need a place to put hand tools.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do, what can you, the town, do to help us get to where we need to be?
so
And do we need those hand tools? Because the things we've asked for recently, gloves, trash bags, and the answer was, sure, tell us when and where, and have your representative come, and we'll let you use those things. So what is it what have we asked for and been told
Who's
no?
responsible for maintenance of all this equipment?
What did you say?
Who's responsible for the maintenance for all this equipment?
Oh, that's the other question.
It's probably not gonna be our problem. I don't think any of us are gonna be here when, the new equipment needs replacing.
Well, but you just said that you bought a
I might.
chainsaw and the chainsaw broke and you
Well,
wanted
it
to get
then
it
broke
fixed.
it through the chain, and that's
Okay.
another thing I need.
So who's gonna fix that then? Cause we talked about
It's probably
that.
gonna be me, 'cause you guys probably won't reimburse me. I'll guarantee it.
I guess that's,
I thought, it was like, you get a receipt, right?
Yeah.
And you bring the receipt.
But the
in.
feeling I have from this board is that you don't wanna spend any money for anything.
but
Even though you're just losing money left and right.
if we had said to you, figure out how much it's gonna cost and then let us
Yeah, I got a
know.
quote,
How much?
$65.
To fix your chainsaw?
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion then. Are you up for a motion?
Sure, fire away.
I'm gonna make a motion to spend $65 to get Mike Druin's chainsaw fixed.
What happened to it?
The
And that will
chain
come
grew
from
and
Fund 53.
So it clogged up, so. I gotta get the chain sharpened, put back on.
Do we have a second?
I'll second, so we can have discussion.
So I think you're gonna, right, I think that you're gonna have to bring a receipt and then into downstairs and give it to them, and they'll reimburse you. That'll take a few weeks.
Alright.
It might take 3 or 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
And
gonna
what's,
take a while.
I guess I'm probably not as, some of us might not be as read into this, so what was the, you must have been doing some work on a
Yeah.
trail, or a
Yep,
parcel, or
yep.
a bike trail, or what was?
We were cutting trees the other day, not the other day, but like 2 weeks ago? A week ago, 2 weeks ago. And the chain flew off of it. Yeah, so I need the chain sharpened as well, cause I was using it all season and it's dull. I need the chain put back on. I need a basic maintenance. I only use a saw for conservation. I have no other use for it. I donate it to this commission if they had a storage space. So, that's all.
Was this at Scalar or
Yeah.
other properties?
Scar.
Well, anyone else with questions? Thoughts? Thoughts on volunteering?
I mean, I can understand, like, I'm a homeowner and I live by someplace, and so, I'm not the only one. In the past, other people have used your tools. Half the time I use my battery chainsaw, it's in Greater Woods, and so, the chain gets dull or whatever, or, you buy these little hand saws and different things, or screws, but, we don't wanna bother with trying to get reimbursed for that and stuff, but, like, I can understand, if you have an expense and, you need to be reimbursed for it, then we should,
And that,
I still wanna set a precedent of paying to maintain people's tools. I mean, I've used my saws all through Greater Woods and Horse Hill and Scalar and all, well, actually not Scalar, but at Gilmore Hill.
Yeah, it's a
You know,
weird, it's a weird
and
thing.
even when we used, we borrowed the brush cutter. It didn't run well, and Horse Hill's like, oh, we'll pay to have it tuned up. I'm like, hey, I don't know if we wanna get into paying to have maintain people's tools.
Mm-hmm.
We very much appreciate people loaning them out, and I'll personally pay to fix things, but as a commission, do we wanna be paying to maintain people's tools?
if we had our own tools, we wouldn't have to.
We still have to
Well,
pay to
yeah.
maintain them.
But they'd be in our control, we'd have accountability.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is cutting trees at Sklar. Did we want all those trees cut? So, but that's a whole nother topic. Anyway,
Did anyone talk to Paul about liability?
Yep. He said he'd given me a form to have volunteers to sign, but he kept delaying and it was too late.
I mean, what if in 30 years, people in the commission are like me, who don't use chainsaws, you know? I mean, there's
Well,
no
maybe we'll
guarantee
have
that
laser saws then.
these
hopefully.
saws.
I feel like Gage too, whenever I've gone out, cause
Yeah.
someone's complained about a tree blocking a trail or something, I'm taking the saw out of my garage, cause it's a
Yeah,
heck
I'm
of a
not-
lot easier
Yeah.
than trying to coordinate with someone for a key to a shed if we had a shed, or a key to,
Yeah.
you're welcome to come borrow my chainsaw to go cut something, just don't make me meet you and deliver
But
it,
it's
you know?
It's kinda like an individual thing, right? We're in different circumstances. I would do it the same. I wouldn't wanna bother driving someplace. I'd rather just grab my tool.
Like for me, I don't have a garage.
That's right.
I have tools just for conservation work. I buy them.
Well,
Because
and-
I don't wanna borrow someone's tool and then break it accidentally, and then they come to the commission and say, oh, we don't wanna pay for people's tools to repair them. And now I feel bad.
Yeah, I guess where I would come from though is, if you're gonna volunteer your time,
That should be enough.
but you volunteer what is within your means. And if you're gonna volunteer, then you volunteer. And if you have to go out and buy a chainsaw and you don't wanna do that, then don't volunteer for things that require a chainsaw. Volunteer for the things that don't require a chainsaw. That would be my feeling, because if you're volunteering and you're saying, okay, so I'm volunteering and now I need a chainsaw, and now I need my chainsaw fixed, but now I need a helmet, and now I need bug spray, then this is beyond your means for what you're willing to volunteer. So my feeling is, if I'm volunteering, then that is my commitment to volunteer within my means. I'm not offering to volunteer to cut trees down, because that's not in my means. I don't have a chainsaw, and I'm not gonna go out and get one. And quite honestly, nobody in this room would trust me with a chainsaw anyway, so.
You can use my chainsaw.
You really don't.
I'm just saying that-
Bring a tourniquet.
A proper organization would have the equipment
We are a proper organization.
and safety equipment.
We are a proper volunteer organization, and everybody does what they are willing to do.
Like, for instance, you know, if there's a tree that's down and it's bigger than, say, 10 inches, I'm not gonna cut it.
No,
That's why I call the town up.
we call it
Yeah, I
DPW.
do too.
Yeah. Because it's beyond my, I don't wanna take the risk, or I don't want, you know, it's beyond my.
Yeah, because for trees like that, one, I'd have to use my saw improperly, and two, you guys don't provide safety equipment. I have no reason to buy safety equipment just for conservation work. That's gonna be expensive for me, just for it to be sitting around for a few times a year.
What is it that you need for safety equipment, though? Is it
A
something
helmet at the
that,
very least,
a helmet at the very least?
yeah.
So what do you need a helmet for except for cutting trees down?
Trees, brush, branches.
Yeah, which there are a lot of along the trails.
All right, so,
I'm back to your argument right there, that's, if it's outside your bailiwick, don't do it.
Mhm.
All right,
I just
do worry a
feel
little-
that Mike got hit in the head with a tree
both
branch.
mics.
But you, this is the thing that's frustrating me, is you guys should not be knocking trees down if you're not gonna be aware of other people around you. If you're taking trees down and they're hitting somebody in the head, then somebody's doing something wrong. You're not following safety
Agreed,
protocols.
Yes, there was a mistake done there.
Well,
Yeah.
this commission hasn't set any protocols,
We
standards.
did not tell you to cut those trees down. In fact, I'm kind of aghast that so many trees were taken down, quite honestly,
On
on Sklar,
non-conservation lots,
on Sklar.
non-conservation. Sklar is past the parking lot. This is general unnamed town property.
Whose property was it?
The town's.
Wait, so
You're talking about the
so the
kiosk. You're talking about
cons,
the kiosk.
Yeah.
so the subcommittee was taking trees down not on Sklar.
Technically, the kiosk is not on Sklar.
Yeah, but the Eagle Scout went and got permission from town council
Yeah.
to put that
We
kiosk
got
up.
permission
You got permission from who?
from Paul.
Paul McCallie?
Yep.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay,
Mike remembers.
Yeah.
okay.
Good.
Hmm. And the flooding was fixed, finally. I'm sure you've all been down there. So now it's a non-flooded area, and we can revegetate it with non-invasive plants. Most of what was removed was bittersweet and small trees. DPW removed one tree
There was one large
and
tree
brought
in
more
DPW.
soil from somewhere.
So, there was a, water gathered on the other side of that little vegetation island.
Mhm.
You
Oh, yeah,
filled up with
it
water.
kinda goes around the backside of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's been smoothed out, right? I haven't been there
Yep.
since that's.
So DPW brought 2 loads of soil, and they pushed it with their bulldozer, and Mark made some sort of grading so it flowed, into the Natticook Brook, like it should. And now there's no flooding there, it's solid
Did you guys
ground.
take, did you guys happen to take some pictures of it?
I took so many
The
pictures.
idea is to
No,
get.
of it finished?
Yeah.
to
Because that was
remake
done
that
once, a long
area
time
around the
ago,
kiosk.
And now, how that berm got
And
built
make
back
it
up again
nice.
was people ripping through their own
Now
bikes.
there's not gonna be flooding
Yeah,
on
and
the other side,
DPW
park a
put
few more cars.
big rocks there.
Yeah,
we got-
I mean, if it was a safety issue and people are getting hurt doing it, then I don't know why we didn't talk to DPW and ask them if they could do it safely, rather than volunteers going in and doing it not safely.
And we have contacts, I think, I wish before, if we feel like we
Yeah.
need a helmet, we should ask DPW to borrow a
Because that's-
helmet.
Well, because that,
Yeah.
that whole,
Yeah, you see, all fixed.
yeah, but that was like, that whole berm.
Much like we were
That-
told with the
That
gloves.
was here.
If we
before,
wanna borrow
and it got
gloves,
pushed up there, people
there's
ripping
gloves to
through there
borrow.
on the Cars and bikes.
And I
Now
just,
what we're
and this
gonna
is
do
just
we're
one
gonna put some
commissioner's
soil
opinion,
down,
but
Yeah.
and replant it,
Yeah.
so better than
Mhm.
before.
anything else?
All right.
We wanna vote on this? Eric, you've been quiet?
No, I just been,
Now, for the shed, if you guys do not vote on it
Well, we have a
now-
motion. Do we wanna vote on that first?
What's the motion? Oh,
We made a motion to
Oh, yeah.
reimburse for the chainsaw.
$65, yeah.
For what's that?
No, I was just making sure it was on the $65 to reimburse.
Is that the amount we talked about?
they said it'll be less if they do it in less than an hour, so.
Not to exceed $65? Any further discussion before we vote? All right, all those in favor?
Oh, yes.
All right. One not in favor. Motion carries 6-1 to 0. All right, back to the shed.
Alright, now for that shed, like I said, it's back ordered to March a month ago, probably April now, March, April. If we don't do it this month, it's gonna be further. We need a shed. I think everybody here can agree to at least, we need storage. We've had no luck with the town, DPW, offering up their precious space. We should get something.
I don't know, DPW and I have always gotten along great, and I have the greatest respect for DPW. So if they're saying they don't have space, then I believe that they don't have space.
Yeah,
I
that-
mean, I would be
fine.
happy to call DPW and find out what we can do about storing what we do have that we need to store, and to find out, if you need a helmet, how can we get you a helmet? But I
Because Paul did say to me that if we need equipment, we can borrow it from DPW.
yeah,
We haven't been told no.
Yep.
We asked to borrow gloves. They
We
said,
were
yes,
told
come
no.
borrow gloves. We haven't asked to borrow a helmet.
I asked
I'm
to borrow a wood chipper and they said no.
Well, they
No kidding.
did
Yeah.
it themselves.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
I mean, you sent me pictures.
As it should be, they're one.
Yeah.
You sent me pictures singing praises of DPW, how they came down and they put the
Yeah,
dirt and ice
they're
over
great.
the.
I'm not complaining about them. I'm just saying, they said they don't have any space for us. That's it.
Then they don't have any space, but perhaps they could make some space, so I think what we need to do is we need to have a conversation with them.
And I think having these figures is actually good, because the cost of not having space from DPW translates directly into whatever the cost of the shed is, which might bring a factor into the conversation that hadn't been there before.
So, yeah, I'm just not ready, I'm sorry, I'm just not ready to vote on the shed yet.
I'm not either.
Not right.
Our next meeting is the 20th of this month. So, can you find out from DPW?
Are you guys okay with me contacting DPW and just having a conversation with them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
Might be
think
worth-
they're gonna harken back to the point, what is it you're looking to store?
Okay,
Yeah, but it's like, I
So
mean,
what is it we're looking
quite
to
quite
store?
literally, I've got signs, I've got, a whole bunch of trail markers. We got duck box, we got 5 duck boxes. I mean, we have,
Mhm.
you know, material. We got a couple bags of wood chips that the mouse find.
So we have less than a 10 by 14 shed's worth of material to store,
Was 10 by 14 the smallest shed
smallest.
quoted?
Mhm.
And what was the price for that?
That was
So we-
7,334.
You know, to that point, how many months of storage could you rent at one of these places? For $7,000 something dollars?
I mean, we could do that too.
You're still gonna have the
Are we able to-
constraint that we can't put gas-powered stuff in there,
Mhm.
or flammables, but.
I did.
I think we should stay away from that anyway.
All right, let me talk to DPW and see what we can find out.
Dry storage. Doesn't
Dry
have to be,
storage.
doesn't even have to be temperature controlled, just dry storage.
Storage.
Mhm.
Because everything we have is going outside anyways.
What's the bag stuff you have? You said you had stuff in bags.
I've got some wood chips for
Wood
the
chips.
duck boxes, cause you buy one bag of that and that's, 3 years supply, so
Okay,
that's the smallest one I could buy.
okay.
Are we good with shed and equipment?
Yes.
Now for equipment, I do want safety equipment, and I'm willing to go to town council to have them buy it. I'll make my case to them, since,
They're gonna want a
you
list.
know,
What do you
I'll
want
bring
for
'em a
safety
list.
equipment?
safety equipment, helmets. at the very-
Helmets.
the very
For
least.
who?
For at least 7 people, since every subcommittee in this commission has 7 people.
Is everybody cutting trees down, though? This is my question.
No, but everybody should be having helmets. He wasn't cutting trees, but a tree fell on him.
Because somebody else was cutting trees near him.
Yeah.
Your the problem was 2 people were cutting trees.
Oh, jeez.
Okay,
So-
and,
Far
and
away
I,
from
I
each
go
other, but-
back
Yeah.
to if you
I know,
can't
but
cut
I
trees
think-
safely, then DPW should be cutting them because they know what they're doing.
But do we wanna bother DPW with every little thing we have?
It's not a little thing.
It's
If a
not a
tree's
little
falling on
thing.
somebody's head.
That was a
Right.
And
small
I
tree.
understand
Right.
accidents happen.
But that small tree, if it hits you the right way, it can do a lot of damage, is my point.
I miss Matt. All right, so helmets, what else? 7 helmets.
Well,
I'm not opposed to spending. It may seem like I am, but I've gotta hear DPW say, no, you can't borrow our helmet before.
Yeah.
I think it's time to take, this sort of work isn't in our charter, right?
No,
And we should be spending Fund 53 funds on the charter. If DPW says, no, you may not borrow a helmet next Saturday when you go out to cut a tree, then I'm all for spending money. This is just one commissioner's opinion, that's all it is, but we asked for gloves. They said, yes, come get the gloves, just return them. Why can't we borrow a helmet? I don't want a helmet from the Conservation Commission, because I don't want the responsibility of maintaining it.
Yeah, cause they expire.
They expire. And they need to meet a certain OSHA standards, and those standards change. DPW is, their charter per se, requires them to stay current I just think that's the way to go. But I'm not opposed to spending if they tell us no, but we've never asked them to borrow a helmet.
I know I'm actually one of the newer people on the commission, but I have not it's coming up on 6 years, had anybody ask me for a helmet or say, I need a helmet.
Well, because
So-
they've been doing this work without the proper safety
We
equipment.
have been asking DPW, either Matt's going out and doing it or Gage is going out and doing it, and they both know what they're doing. And Mike knows what he's doing, and Mike knows not to be cutting things that he, is not comfortable with. But
But things happen. Sometimes a tree doesn't go the way you think it's gonna go. Sometimes you're just standing around and it just falls on you.
I'm sorry, man, safety is
know.
safety is a personal protection. That's why it's called PPE, personal protection equipment. If I'm gonna go and do that, I'm taking my gear with me.
Yeah, and I'd like gear too.
Nope, I buy it, it's my gear. It's mine. My gloves, my sweaty helmet, all that stuff is on my mind.
Yeah, and I do that too, but I'm
Oh.
poor.
Then right back to Gina's argument, you shouldn't be volunteering for that stuff.
Volunteer for what is within your means to volunteer for. This is
All
what
right, I'm
we're-
gonna call up you guys every time I need something done.
Okay.
I don't even have a rake or a hammer. You know what? All right, come to Sklar and rake this trail for me. It's ridiculous. We're at our cap, and once again, you guys are not willing to spend anything.
But I guess my argument there is, I mean, we're having there's a long conversation that now Stephanie needs to transcribe, and the question becomes, what do you want? Give us a list of everything you want. You want bug spray, you want a rake, you want a helmet, you want gloves, you want a hammer. Tell us what you want. Give us an itemized list of how much it's gonna
This is a
cost.
commission that's been around for 30
You
plus
want
years,
it-
we've never owned equipment.
Exactly.
Yeah, but every
You-
other
you
commission has
wanted-
equipment.
You wanted the chainsaw fixed, we voted for the chainsaw. So I think it's kind of a slap in the face to say, we never spend money. We're willing to spend money if you tell us what you're spending it on.
But my point is, if we buy the stuff, we have nowhere to put it after. If we
that's the
spend
thing.
money on a piece of equipment, I don't want it to be stored where it's not being, accountable,
But I'm not gonna spend $11,489 for a shed to store your equipment. This is my argument.
But it's not my equipment, it belongs to the commission.
But the rest of us are not asking for it. That's the thing. So this is if you have equipment that you need to store, let me know what you need, or let us know what you need, and we'll ask DPW for a place for you to store that equipment.
So Gage, Matt, when he had his like trail hose and, I know his chainsaw was his and all that.
Yep.
But, was all that stuff his or,
That was in his trailer.
I know he had a lot of trail working.
Yeah, that was
tools.
all, well, it was NEMBA, the Black Association,
Yeah.
that was their trailer.
So bring us a list of what
Alright.
safety equipment you feel that we're denying you. And we will figure out what you need, and we will figure out a place for you to keep it,
All right.
okay?
And, maybe the town, that could be part of the discussion with the town, whereas, okay, you've gone to the town and they're comfortable with you doing certain things, then if you have the proper equipment, then they don't have to send somebody that's getting paid, But I think that as long as the town is understanding everything, and can help us with equipment or places to put the equipment, I mean, they wouldn't want they wouldn't want me going out and cutting a tree down, I mean, there's
Yeah, the
liability we
the-
have to be aware
The town
of.
took down a large tree there, they took care of the
Mhm.
stumps and brush.
Yeah, they spent all day there.
Well, right,
Took
but
care of
that's
the
our tax
road.
money too, I
Yeah, a
mean, it's
whole
not
crew of
like,
people in the
it's
bulldozer.
They smoothed
not,
out the road.
Mm-hmm.
So they're cooperating,
Yeah.
they're helping
They're
us out.
doing a great job down there, and this is the thing is, I'm not comfortable with everybody down there cutting trees, and nobody, saying, okay, I'm cutting this one out, clear out.
We still have a
If
bad taste
two
in our
people
mouth.
got hit in the head with a tree, somebody's
knowing
not
what's
doing
going
something
on.
right.
Yeah, we wanna know what's going on, the
Well,
commission wants to know what's
you're
going on.
all welcome to attend subcommittee meetings.
That's good to know,
Well,
but I think
you-
our subcommittees need to answer to us.
It's in the charter. I
And
mean,
you all know I speak about Sklar at every meeting about what we're doing, whether you choose to ignore it or not. I'm
And,
sure if you look back at the minutes, you will hear about those trees. I guarantee
and
it.
we all know that you made a motion so that you would get approval to decide which trees got cut down, and you didn't get a second. So we're not comfortable with you deciding which trees get cut down, and we're not comfortable with
That's not the trees we cut.
semantics.
No, it's not. It was on town property. It's out of our control. We removed it because to fix some drainage and bittersweet, just to make it look better. Yeah. Those are the reasons, but basically, those trees were not my request. The Flying Eagles requested it. They got denied by you guys. They still have to go to town council after they meet
No,
with
they
their,
They didn't get
Denied.
denied.
Never got
Denied by
denied.
us
They
at all.
never got denied.
they basically got denied.
So
The-
did you ever figure out who took the trees down?
No, we haven't, and more trees have been cut.
Who
More
cut
And we
tree-
don't know,
More trees and the notch have been cut.
not the notch, elsewhere on the property. And I really wish we had some sort of a trail camera to
We-
find
Let's add
these.
that
We
to
do
the
have,
list.
we
Trail
do now, we
camera.
do have 2 cameras somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah, let me borrow those.
Where are they?
In my shed?
There you go, we have 2 cameras.
Yeah,
So maybe you can
I
get
think
them
there was,
You
there
know-
was 3. One was on the tree down there. Well, actually, that was the police,
Yeah.
that was the police head
I
down
thought one got
So,
stolen.
He has
So what?
two
Yeah, I
cameras.
think one
I'm,
got,
thought one
I'm
got
down at
stolen.
Sklar almost every day. I go during the rainstorm, I'll just sit there and I'll watch. Catch off-roaders, you know. I'm down there a lot, I'm very dedicated to it. I can't be there all the time, so I need cameras. I need some sort of support here, you know. You can't complain to me about trees being cut and not, you know, propose anything.
Well, my bigger concern was the trees that were being cut unsafely by whoever was cutting trees that hit Mike in the head, though. If you're gonna cut trees, cut them safely. If you can't cut them safely, let's ask DPW. That's my argument. I don't want people getting hurt.
I don't either, I don't wanna get hurt.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but if a tree falls and you're wearing, you know, a helmet, you're still gonna get hurt, so.
But it's not gonna be as bad as if you weren't.
Okay, this is going nowhere,
Yeah.
all right? Let's keep this going.
I'm just trying to keep you here.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
you can get 2 cameras from.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, we have
All right.
cameras.
So are we done with these 2 items?
Yeah,
Shed and equipment? We're not there. We're not ready to,
Doesn't seem like it.
No, I don't think so. If you can find out a little bit from DPW, maybe we can,
Better luck next meeting.
I mean, my stuff is in, that little shed is 8 by 8-ish.
Oh,
brings us to
Yeah.
other business. I do know we have some subcommittee updates. Ellen, do you wanna go first?
Ernest, you can work with me on this. The Forest Hill Subcommittee met recently. First time some of us have gotten together, so that was good. One thing that was a concern was acquisition of materials for bridge repair. And I was recalling a discussion we had had, wasn't anything formal, about the town having accounts.
So, got
I'm
it.
sorry, thank you. We were talking in the Horse Hill Subcommittee meeting about materials for, I think, bridge renovation was the main one. And I recall a discussion we had in the full commission about accounts at local, you know, like Home Depot and Reed's and whatever for small things, you know, things you wouldn't get competitive bids on. The subcommittee would like to know what the procedure is. Is there something in writing that they could use if they have a specific project, you know, a bridge, and are looking for hardware for it or something?
All we've ever had them do is go get a quote and bring it up.
And bring it over
Yeah.
to,
Yeah,
Mhm.
just, yeah, just bring it up, because we can pass it down to community development, and they can purchase it and have it delivered.
Okay.
Sometimes it depends on how much it is physically, how much space, how much
Mm-hmm.
material, where they'll deliver it to. Sometimes they'll deliver just to DPW, or they'll deliver it to, you know, personal residents.
Okay. Yeah, that was Mark Gagnon who'd asked about
Yep.
that, so I'll make sure he gets that information.
So we have to approve that, the Conservation Commission, the funds.
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Right, that's what I say, but I mean,
Yeah.
Last one got delivered right to the site, didn't it? The stick bridge?
Yes, they deliver that right to the gate, pretty much.
yeah,
Yeah, which was great, because that's a long walk in.
yeah.
No, it's still 3/4 of a mile to get the lumber there.
Hmm.
And one other thing that,
And that
we
goes, and that goes for anything they wanna buy. Doesn't really matter
Mhm.
what it is.
One other thing that came up was dealing with some multiflora rows in a particular spot. You know, the entrance to Horse Hill, I call it the path in, before you get to the loop. There's one corner that's got multiflora rows that's been persistent. And Tim, I cannot remember his last name, but he's on the subcommittee, thank you. After we were kicking around ideas about how to eradicate it, he described his experience as a farmer around here. He said the only way to do it is cut it and keep coming back to cutting it. And he and Mark together would like to start working on that over the winter. That would be with their own equipment. But that is how the subcommittee would like to address it. It's a small area. They said that this is not throughout the property. They're looking at the multiflora rows on the path that enters it. And they would like to start taking a crack at that this winter and early spring.
And there was a question whether or not DPW would be better to handle this than Tim and Mark.
Yeah.
Just because
The initial cut or the,
probably, well, for now, the initial cut, just in the short term, just because they're not entirely sure how heavy or how heavy equipment that should be.
Yeah, what's the proper tool for going
Yeah.
to initiating this, making the first
Yeah,
pass?
because they have tools, they're not sure if it's the
think-
proper tool for.
you might be better off to start with cooperative extension. You know, they have a whole, they have a whole invasive species division, and they're, you know, Tim, Matt Tarr comes down here, he's our rep, local rep. And he'll come, that's his job, to go around, so if we let him know, he can come down here probably and just look at it.
What is his name?
Matt Tarr.
Is he at the county office in Goffstown, with the extension?
He's the cooperative, he was up at UNH, yeah,
Okay.
he works out at UNH. Yeah, hold on, get this. He's a mountain, he's a huge dude.
Oh, I know what the materials were. It wasn't for a bridge. It was to replace a sheet of plexiglass in the kiosk at the beginning of the trail.
How big?
Oh, he knows the dimensions. I don't know.
Who's he?
Mark
Oh, okay.
Gagnon.
Yeah, I thought maybe we had that somewhere.
Yeah,
Oh, you have in your, okay.
in my shed.
We're in the happy position of being out of maps because they've been so popular. And so the subcommittee wants to make sure the map at the kiosk is intact. And also, there's now a QR code.
Yes.
That, was it Tim who came up with it?
Yeah, Tim had the QR code, and it does work and everything.
So you
So
scan
it's just
that and a map will come up on whatever device you scan it with. And I believe Matt is also going to look into having more maps printed.
Who
I
is
think
he gonna
was-
look
I think he
into
was
it
going
with?
to,
Horse Hill is out of it.
Horse Hill, yeah, for Horse Hill maps, he was going to go to, I think he was gonna ask somebody at community development.
Oh,
Oh,
For
usually
maps.
we ask paper
For
graphics.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I can call and ask at paper graphics.
Should check all the maps before.
There was some concern about some trails being added, and then we got into a discussion of, well, if we wait until the formal map is updated, how long are we gonna be without paper maps?
A
So,
long time.
if anybody has piles of maps in their basement somewhere, let us know.
The Horse Hill, no. I don't have any of those extras.
Do you have any Greater Woods left?
Yeah, you know.
I'd have to go look, I don't think so, I think I gave them all to you.
All right, no, I have
I
Wasserman.
think you have some. You took,
I took a handful of them to fill up, but I don't, I'll check, I'll check.
Right, I have a ton of Wasserman, but other than that, we're out.
Anything else on Horse Hill?
Other than that, for the meeting, we brainstormed new ideas for 2022. So one was adding QR codes to the maps, although No, I think we decided
I think we,
it was pointless to add a QR code to a map that has a
Yeah.
map on it.
Mhm.
So when we put the QR codes on the, sorry.
We're so modest on this.
three for three, man. I do that too.
Yeah, so, we decided so that, but adding the QR codes to the, kiosks.
I thought we put QR codes on the maps.
I did too.
There
They're
are
on there.
QR codes on the maps, I believe.
They're on there.
Yeah, because you can, that, you go to that map, you can bring it up in the, what's the app?
All
Esri.
trails?
You can bring it up in Esri, and you can actually navigate on your mobile device on the map.
So improvements in wayfinding is what
Yeah.
that goal came to for 2022.
Yeah, and then, continued invasive species management, which, we mentioned with the multiflora rose. Also, we wanted to, identify hazards and mud pits, and trails, cause there have been some, flooding on trails and just trails that are particularly muddy in certain areas, and we wanted to, reroute the trails around those hazards. Yeah, that was, and that is it for the meeting, I believe.
All right. Well, thank you. Who else?
Clara update, like I do every meeting, about everything we're doing.
Did your thing?
Yep.
Okay, good, just checking.
I just leave it on. Alright, so we cleared those trees, like I mentioned at previous meetings we were gonna do. The flooded area, the puddle that was created by illegal off-roaders has been filled.
This is by the kiosk.
Yep, by the kiosk. The bittersweet was removed. The trees that were there were shredded. And the stumps were also removed. Now we plan on revegetating it in some way. And it's gonna be looking a lot nicer than it did before.
Who did the stumps? Was that DPW? or-
Well,
they burn
Mark
down there?
pushed it and,
Yeah, Mark pulled them up,
yeah.
DPW.
Ground them?
Oh, you pulled the stumps out, they didn't grind them.
No, Mark pushed it with his bucket loader and
Yeah.
DPW did something with them. I suspect they're under the mulch pile.
Yeah, like I said, they weren't ground, they didn't get ground in place, they got removed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, we pretty much stopped for the season because it's getting pretty cold. DPW did bring some dirt, 2 loads of it, and they put it on top of where we cut. They also made a ramp for that stone bridge. They put a log down and they put some sort of soil on it, and now it's walkable.
Oh, that old bridge in the back?
The stone bridge.
Yeah, the one that's,
Parallel
yeah,
to the dirt road?
yeah.
They also cleared the culverts under it as well. We didn't ask them to do that. It was really nice of them. They've been doing work down there as well. They chipped some of the trees they previously cut.
Who previously cut?
They previously cut. Remember when they fixed the road for us?
Okay, yeah.
They cut those trees and left them on the side. They shredded them. And the road's holding up pretty good. The trench flooding measures they've made are working. There's no puddles on the road. It's a little muddy when it turns because we put more soil there. The parking area by the boat launch is the only parking area on the Sklar property. The entrance is on town property. We squared it out so you could actually park there. Before you would pull in anywhere you could and, hope nobody blocked you in. Now it's a proper parking area, as some of you may have seen if you went down there. The soil we took was very minimal, and we used it to build up the bank where off-roaders went over and made trenches over. That was fixed. We put it in some ruts on the road, that was fixed. The barrier, over there was broken. Someone harvested the wood, the trees that we put there.
So
We don't,
they cut through and drove through, right?
those big logs,
Yeah.
they harvested them and took them. And then they driving through there now. I put up the sign, they knocked down the sign.
Yeah, I got a picture of that.
I tried to rebuild the barrier, but they just went through it. So,
We need a camera, yeah.
Did you happen to log any of these
Yeah.
with the police?
no, I didn't bother, because every time I ask them, they call them up and say, don't do it again.
They call them?
Yeah, these were
No,
done
I-
November 7th, not
Yeah.
flat. Those
So-
were the, no
so-
wheel vehicles.
So we're supposed to reporting all those incidents up to Tim Thompson?
Who?
Tim Thompson,
Community development.
Community Development? He's, all the legal issues are supposed to go through him?
Mhm.
So,
They should be reported to the police too, so at least they're on there recorded.
yeah.
Mhm.
They record all of their calls, so if you call them and you say, this happened, it is recorded. It's acknowledged.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, we shouldn't stop complaining, to the
Yeah.
police.
We need to
should,
continue
Yeah.
to tell the police what's
even
happening.
Even if
Yeah, but
If it
it does,
feels
it
like-
doesn't, it's important to go through Tim Thompson too, because the
Yeah.
town
Yes.
manager gets the report of all the things that were reported
okay.
Okay,
and can follow up with the police as to why these things weren't dealt with.
okay,
Now,
Or if they have been dealt with, what the resolution is.
right.
Mhm.
personally, I think we should put a danger sign in some of those ruts and say, don't go past this point, danger.
Minefield.
Put a 2x4 with some nails in it, you know.
It is, I'm sure, I don't doubt it's frustrating to see it happen.
But-
But they're not gonna patrol that area. If we don't
No.
tell them, they won't know what's going on. It's not
Well,
an
but-
intersection the Merrimack PD is monitoring.
Well, I used to go down there, but, you know, not
Mhm.
anymore.
Yeah, the only support we get down there is fishing game.
But for the most part, besides the few off-roaders now, there's no trash, that tire was the only thing that someone dumped recently. I don't know if it's still there. Did you put that in your car?
No.
No.
Where's the tire? I looked for it. I was gonna
It's
throw it
right
in
in
my
the
truck.
parking area.
Yeah, it's right by where the trails are. Trails, by the kiosk.
Okay.
That tire, right, has a wheel, the steel wheels on it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
rim's still on it. You know, there's the occasional fire by the river, but, you know,
And you have a meeting coming up, right?
the meeting's the 15th, it's a planning meeting, and we'll be going over, we're trying to make a long-term plan. So, that will be presented to you all. And we'll be requesting a number of things to be bought by you guys. I don't know exactly what they are yet, but I'm sure we will vote on a number of them. Some of the things I can imagine are stairs for one of the trails. You know that steep spot? So I actually found a spot
Yeah, you were
that's a
telling me
little
that.
further down. It's much easier.
Yeah, you're supposed to show that to me.
So we'll figure out the price for that. We're gonna be needing a bridge because it goes over that trench river. When it rains, it floods. It turns into a little stream. So we'll
This-
need a bridge over that.
The 15th is a Wednesday, right? You said the
Yes,
15th
it's
is
a
the...
Wednesday.
What time is the meeting?
7 p.m. in this room. We'll need those plants. We'll need to borrow someone's shovels and rakes to plant the plants, unless you guys decide to buy those. Also, do you know the combo for the lock on the kiosk?
I texted it to you twice. I'll text it to you again. I got
Oh.
it.
Also, we'd like a map made. We don't know who does these maps.
Oh, well, right.
Is there
This
one?
would have to be an RPC, right?
NRPC did them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because there's no map. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's like probably a year from now or something.
Yeah, are we there yet? Do we have
Do we have
trails?
trails and,
We
Well,
have
there's trails,
signs.
yeah.
We have,
well, anyway, well,
Decent
I know
trails.
there's trails. Do we have trails that we're designating as these are the trails we want people to be
Pretty
on?
much, one might get rerouted because he found a little better
Yeah.
way, you said. But,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that would-
actually, there were people using the trails when we were down there a
Good,
couple
yeah,
weeks
good.
ago.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because NRPC is gonna have to come in, and they're gonna come in with the telemetry, and they're gonna walk
Yeah.
it, so there's an
So
actual,
Mhm.
It's actually very nice.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah, a
wanna
lot of
wait
people.
till after your next meeting?
Oh,
It's probably gonna be in the
a while.
summer at least.
It's gonna be a while.
A lot of people actually go down there now, quite a bit, probably more than Watson Park.
that's gonna be
Um,
the biggest help to stop
Yeah.
the unwanted activities
Um,
down there.
Yeah.
So, if you, just for a minute, if you guys want, I'll gonna ask, Kyle again, for an estimate for the turn-in, to improve the
Yeah.
turn-in to, Scalar.
Mm.
Under the
I-
bridge,
Yes.
or you
so
mean up
The
the
one just
top?
off of.
From the
At the
top,
top.
from the
Okay.
top going under the railroad.
I think that's already, wasn't that already?
There is a little, yes, but he's supposed to look into it. I'm just gonna remind him again.
Mhm.
Okay? Is that all right with you guys?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Also, I think we should ask permission to go over the railway, straight across the end of that road and
Nope.
down.
Won't happen.
Yeah, it's not gonna,
Doesn't,
they won't,
doesn't
Pan
hurt
Am.
to ask.
yeah,
It's Pan Am. It has nothing to do with the town.
Yeah.
yeah, the
It's-
railroad is really, really,
It's,
Mhm.
there's one crossing in town, that's at the end of Star Drive,
Yeah.
and that
And as
was,
we've just heard, that's private.
and that's
What
private.
about,
Mhm.
what about the, New England Pole? Don't they have a crossing?
Who?
Footer?
Patterson.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they're north of Sklar, so they must. Huh.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I don't
that's
know
a that's another that's through Pan Am. We don't there's no even to ask. You have to go up to the railroad station, the railroad
Yeah.
legal and get that. This
Now, how do they feel about people walking across a track?
they do it all the time.
Yeah, so they don't care if we made an access trail from the road to
Well,
Careful
Eagle
about
Bluff?
pushing it.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
Because right now, you know how tight that bridge is going under.
Yep.
That's the
Mhm.
only way to get in by foot as well.
Mhm.
So I was thinking some sort of trail
well,
for people to use so they're not mingling
you
with
could
the cars.
you could walk up
property
by
is
the
that?
substation.
Yeah, but it's quite a bit of brush.
You
I
have to
saw
cross
that
the
way, I
railroad
actually
tracks.
walked that
Mm.
the other day. So if we just cut some brush to kind of open up, we don't even have to put a sign or anything.
Are these people coming from a neighborhood?
Yeah, a lot of people in the neighborhood will walk their dog down there, they'll take their kids down there. We have 2 people that just joined the subcommittee from there. The neighborhood's pretty engaged with it.
What else?
All right. Let me think. How can I keep you here longer? I'm joking. But speaking of the deed, it says we have to protect the habitat that's there, right? So that burning bush, which is on New Hampshire's prohibited list, needs to be taken care of, so it doesn't damage the habitat, because right now it's completely eliminating the native species.
so what you're saying is valid, but there's a ton of other stuff that needs to be done down there. I mean, this is something that we
Cut it.
address,
I'd love to cut it.
there's
Mhm.
there's tons of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get to a point. I mean, look at all that's up in Wasserman.
Yeah.
But my
But-
point is, right now, it's clumped into one large group, and you can see when the leaves fall off the trees, the only color in there is a burning bush. It's
It's beautiful.
they're very, very beautiful, but that's when you can see it, when all the leaves are down. So I'm hoping that next fall, when that happens, we have some sort of a plan to get rid of it. Because it's all in one group, and then you can see it's starting to spread in other parts, a little here and there. So it should be
Yeah.
fairly easy to cut all at once and get those.
That's something we can bring up
Yeah.
at the end of the summer.
But if we don't do anything, it's gonna grow out of control.
While you're
very
talking to
quickly.
Matt, ask him about that too. Burning bush, invasive, as an invasive species. See if there's a plan to get rid of, that, other than just cut it.
Is that Matt, the county forester?
He's not a county forester, but yes, the same.
No, UNH Cooperative.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. He's the one that talked about it with me.
Who?
Matt
Matt.
Tar?
Matt Tar?
Matt, the UNH Hillsborough County
Extension-
forester.
Is he the forester that came down?
Yeah, the
The guy,
forester.
yeah.
Is like Matt or Mike, somebody.
I don't think that's Matt Tar.
He's not a county forester, he's a
This was
professor.
Yeah, this was a county one.
Oh.
He's, yeah. But the forester would know too, I mean, that's a good resource to,
Yeah.
I don't wanna rush anyone. It's closing in on 9. Are we done with
Yes.
Oh,
Scholar
wow,
update?
time really flew.
yeah, let's get
Okay.
going.
Any other subcommittee updates? What do you have, Jean?
We have a Wildcat Falls Subcommittee meeting on January 11th at 6:30 here in the Memorial Room. And if anyone is wondering, we are aware that the bridge needs some work on the North Loop. We also are aware that there are some trees that are down, and we will be trying to take care of those. And the police did call me twice over the course of the past couple of weeks. Someone was in Wildcat Falls with a wheelbarrow, digging holes, putting concrete, putting sand, putting rock on top. We have not solved that mystery yet. So if anyone has any information and they want to let us know, by all means.
I've been thinking
Okay,
about that,
Mark.
I'm like, what the heck? What would you be filling with sand and all
No
that?
idea.
Just
Are the witches back?
Maybe he's burying a
The-
body.
The witches, even the police officer that called me knew about the witches, so, yeah, I have no idea, so. But if you're wondering, yes, the police are on top of things, so. Anyway, that's all I have.
I don't have anything from Greater Woods, cause I think I missed a meeting. I'm pretty sure. So, and Nat hasn't called me to chew me out, so I'm sure that he's getting ready to.
Well, thank you for your transparency
Yeah.
on that.
Sorry about that, Nat.
All right, that brings us to, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Presentation of the minutes.
Well, just real quick on the subcommittees, if you have your meeting agenda for 2022, please send to me the dates, times, locations, and
Good
I'll
point.
put it on our calendar.
That's why I missed it.
That's why you missed it? Oh, because it wasn't on the
It
calendar?
was on the calendar.
Well, yeah, because
And
it's
and
been so
again, it's
piecemeal
my
right
fault.
now that I,
It's my, and I
You want me
did, 'cause
to
I
just
didn't
tell
get
you the next meeting for Horse Hill right now?
Well, do you have all of 2022?
Oh, no, just the next one.
I think
Yeah.
I
We only schedule them piecemeal.
I think I requested it before, but I should
Yeah.
request it again, that all the subcommittee meetings, when the notices go out to the subcommittees, that they should go out to the Conservation Commission too.
Mm.
So we know that
Yeah.
the subcommittees are having a meeting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Especially if you expect low attendance or you want another person there.
Well,
Yep.
just so, and just
Yep,
so we
no,
know.
just so
it's-
people know.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve the Merrimack Conservation Commission meeting minutes dated November 15th, 2021, with changes as follows. Page-
Second.
Thank you.
Motion by Gina, seconded by Cindy. Who wants to go first?
The only thing I had was page 2, line 8, replace structed with structured. And page 8, line 32, remove the comma after proven.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
Oof. Anyone else? All right, motion to approve the minutes as amended. All in favor? Motion,
Do we have a second?
we
I'm gonna-
seconded, Cindy
Yeah.
seconded.
Cindy seconded.
I'm-
Motion carries 5.
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna abstain, 'cause I
Pat,
wasn't
you
here.
abstain.
I wasn't here.
2 abstentions. Eric and Gage. Commissioners' comments. I forgot where I started last time. Mike, you wanna go first?
Just in, like if Greater Woods wants, because I didn't speak in Greater Woods, because I know they don't, if they're like on the kiosk, if you want to have like a sign, and we can measure, like on the top of the kiosk, it actually says Greater Woods, you know, I could possibly ask Scott to do that. If you don't want it, that's fine too.
Oh,
You know, people know they're at Greater Woods,
Yep.
but it kind of adds a touch of class to have, like, actually say Greater Woods on the kiosk.
I think we might have some of those signs. I think we had
Oh.
some made.
But this could be routed and.
Oh, yeah, these are just the ones these are on the foam core,
Oh,
just to go inside the kiosk.
but like after, you know,
Yeah, no, that's
after
great.
the holidays.
That's a
if he has
that's a
some
great
time,
idea. Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
idea, because that does look nice. It looks,
Each kiosk had to be measured,
Yep.
you know, and,
okay.
because he was open to doing that, and they would have to be, you know, like the town colors, painted brown with the
Yep.
yellow lettering.
Okay.
Yeah, you might, you know.
Are you
So-
gonna be talking to DPW? I bet those, now that Mike says signs, I think those signs that are still next to the equipment shed at the bottom of the hill going up to the ball field behind the middle school, they were never planted. There's 2 big signs laying on the ground. We might wanna I'll double check that, but I think they're still there.
They're
They're
like
next
Greater
to
Woods
what?
signs?
What are they next to?
The upper parking lot?
Upper parking lot,
There's the little buildings right there, the equipment building?
yeah.
It's just on the dog fence side of it. On the fence side of it, there's 2 signs on the ground.
What do we want them?
They were supposed to be planted somewhere, and I'm trying to remember where. But somewhere,
I'll ask.
I've been walking by them for so many years now, I don't even think of them.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, yes, you do. Yep, the upper parking lot,
I
Yeah.
have to,
there's a little building right there, between the building and the fence.
Oh,
There's-
yeah, I mean, I know that, but I mean, I don't know what the signs
Yeah,
look
there's
like.
there's two big, those nice big signs.
I'm up that side
Really?
of town tomorrow, so I'll look.
Oh, yeah, I've seen them, I wonder.
Yeah, probably some couple of years, they've been there for a
Yeah.
while.
I'll look tomorrow, and I'm gonna talk to Kyle after, probably Wednesday. I'll give him a call.
And what's on the signs? What is it?
They say
Greater Woods.
I think they say Greater Woods, yeah.
And they're wooden or they're foam?
Yeah.
They're wood?
They're wood.
Oh, what the heck?
They're nice, they're
Yeah.
nice, nice
And
big.
I only see them when I'm walking out, so I
Yeah.
forget about it by the time I get home.
Who am I?
Was that it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's right. Mike?
Oh, wow. All right, why'd I write that? All right, so the signs look really nice. They're changing their color now. They're kind of red. I really like them.
The trail signs.
Yeah, really nice. Now, one of the things I'm wondering is, when I was a member of Hudson's Conservation Commission, we would go and do a site walk on pretty much every application. We haven't done that, but pretty much any of the applications here.
Applications?
Different.
Like the
different
flat lease
properties.
developments,
Oh,
you know, my point is, you know, I think we should, because we're putting all our trust in what they're showing us, and, you know, who knows what's actually there, what wetland they're about to fill in, you know?
How did Hudson do that? Did they put it on the agenda and they all showed up, or did certain
All right.
representatives show up, or?
So, if the person came and we didn't do it, we would say, we'll set up a site walk and you can come back next meeting. Or if we got advance notice, then sometimes we'd be able to set something up.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Reed's Ferry Shed were building their extra facility over there, we went and looked at the site. We found out that they had a stream there, and
Reed's Fair, I don't even remember this one.
Well,
So this
the,
is in Hudson.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hudson.
I'm not here.
there was different things that we couldn't see from the application, and we made recommendations like native bushes here to stop the erosion and this and that. They weren't gonna request to pave this spot, it wasn't on their application, but we saw it there and we heard it from them once we asked them what they were doing. Different things, you know. I think it's just better.
Oh, it is,
Mm.
Yeah, I
we've-
know it
We've
looked at-
taken, we've
there's a
taken
lot of
site,
volume.
we've taken plenty of site walks before
Yeah.
on some of these projects. I mean, the ones we saw tonight,
Mm.
personally, I'm pretty familiar with those properties, so I know, I mean, that
Like
Star,
I found,
Star
Mhm.
Drive is pavement and concrete and packed,
I'm
packed
trying to-
substrate. There's nothing over there.
I'm trying to think when we most recently did that. It was a subdivision, right? We asked to go out and walk it, but how did we do it? How did the mechanics
we-
of that?
Well, we set it up with the,
They presented first,
they
right? And then we
presented
said,
first.
we'd like
yeah,
to just
we
come
told
look.
them, yeah. We've done that with a number of properties.
Mm.
Some, single lot subdivisions. We've done a lot. We've done that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
it's like with the Flying Eagles, we didn't take their word for it, we wanted to see it for ourselves. It should be across the board.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, I don't know why I wrote signs, but,
So that's the way we would achieve that, Mike. If we wanted to do that, any of us, if we feel like we need to see something, I think that's the mechanism to
It's
do
certainly
it.
within our purview.
Yeah, we'll just say, before we send our recommendation, can we come see this? We have the landowner or the representative of the landowner here. I mean, obviously, we would want to coordinate that.
And yeah, if they're accustomed to coming to us and then meeting with the planning board the next day, community
Mhm.
development might wanna give them a heads up that the Conservation Commission reserves the right to request
Mm-hmm.
a walkthrough before making a recommendation.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. Yeah, we could,
Just make,
It'd be
it
simple
can be
enough to
very
do that.
informal, just
Say-
make sure they know that we have that right to do
we,
that.
we could have done that. We could even do that tonight if that had been the case,
Yep.
where we heard this person, they showed up, they presented, we want to go see this. Or these line items. Does that
Yeah.
answer your question?
Yeah.
And nothing stopping you from going to look at any of these parcels anytime you want.
Well, I found out about this application, this agenda on Saturday,
Mm-hmm. That's,
very short notice, I had my kids with me, I'm not gonna drag them into the woods.
mhm.
One other thing is, I'm always at Sklar, very passionate about it. I know pretty much everything that's going on except for those trees. If any of you want a tour or to know what's going on, please let me know. I'm the chairman of that subcommittee. So, yeah, that's all.
Gage,
I'm good.
you good? Ellen?
Gage, I wanted to clarify, when I talked about the plexiglass for a kiosk at Horse Hill, did you say you had something in your shed, or was that just?
No, I do.
You do?
I've got a lot.
I'll ask Mark Gagnon to
I-
get in touch with you, because he knows more about the size.
I don't even think it's plexiglass. I think it's Lexan.
Okay, whatever material was
So
there,
it's really nice stuff.
good stuff. We like good stuff. Thank you.
Eric?
My dad just texted me.
Is your light on?
My father just texted me, and Patriots are currently winning 11-7. So just so everyone knows.
Nice, that's great.
Thank you.
And that is it.
Nothing?
I just want to thank Don McMillan, who has
Rushes.
done our minutes for
Mhm.
9.5 years and has kept us so incredibly organized. And I realized today just how much I'm going to miss her because I had to do the cheat sheet.
Yeah.
So I know she's not gonna see this because you're not typing the minutes anymore, but thank you, Don. You are wonderful, and I'm gonna miss you so much. And I want to thank Stephanie, who is going to have to sort through all of the chatter
Oh,
at this
man.
meeting, and apologize to Stephanie for my chatter. But, welcome aboard, Stephanie. Stephanie is, our part-time community development secretary, and she will be doing the minutes tonight.
Thank you, Gina. Yeah, that was my only, or I guess I had two notes. One, that Dawn, if you didn't know, and Dawn does a lot more for this commission than
So
most of
much.
you probably see.
She's
It
a
takes a
god-
lot of
She's
preparation
godsend.
to
Yeah.
get a hack like me
Yeah.
ready to host or preside over one of these. I mean, she prepares all the notes, make sure I can't miss an important item.
You're doing great.
And she's done it for everyone else who's tried to put this together. But, so great luck to her. It's devastating that she's moving on, but hopefully, she'll enjoy greener pastures. We should, and this is hard to do, I wish I had said this at the beginning of this meeting. Someone, can you try to picture yourself sitting behind a computer or whatever, watching this meeting and trying to type in these notes. We do make it brutal for her some nights. Tonight in particular might be one of those examples. It's great discourse, great dialogue, but anything we can just, if you haven't taken a few 30 seconds to put yourself in that person's perspective, and I don't know how we make it easier, but a lot of commissions do this for themselves.
Yep.
Hallelujah, we're not one of those. But the other note, the only other note I had was, we have a meeting scheduled for the 20th of December. I don't think we've traditionally had that second meeting in December. I think the only thing that could rise to the occasion of needing that meeting is if there were some urgent statutory business, but I don't know that the planning board will meet. Again.
I can't be at that meeting anyway, so.
No, and I can't imagine what would transpire between now and then that would need us to have that meeting.
I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna be at the first one in January either, so we'll see.
This is the bad news session. We'll get by it, Gina. But, all right, so that was our thoughts with that, so I'll send out what do we usually wait till Friday? Send out a cancellation. Anyone else? No? Someone wanna make a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion by Gage, second by Eric, all in favor? Thanks.
When's the meeting in January?
What's that?
When's the meeting in January?